Hello and welcome to Sidequest. This is our weekly video game show here at Geekverse. I'm your host, Dylan Muss, and I have with me happy birthday, Ada, Travis Snell. How's it going today, my friend?
It's going well. I'm excited for the show. We got some fun little news bits, but I'm very excited to talk about one game in particular that we've been playing. So I'm excited. We talked about this on the newscast. I'm just getting excited. We are less than 20 days away from Resident Evil Requiem. I'm ready, especially all the stuff coming out about the runtime and the split between the two characters. I'm getting ready. I'm so excited. So.
Yeah, I really love the trajectory that we've gone on from the initial announcement, which was like, oh, cool announcement. You know, this looks good.
Play that
I was
one
like,
day.
I'm probably going to get this because I've been playing a lot of Resident Evil, but now you're just like a super fan again, like getting back in the series. You're playing everything. I've been playing Resident Evil 6, so yeah, we'll have that big conversation, which would be a fun one. It's kind of like the black sheep of the series, maybe. It's like a nice way to put it. And then we'll also be talking about a new Horizon game got announced last week, which is kind of crazy. We've got some... We're going to talk a little bit about Outer Worlds 3, I guess the non-existent.
Lack thereof, yeah.
And then just some other games that Travis has been playing. So, let's kick it off with Horizon, because you and I really loved that first game, and we both came back to the well to get a little bit more water for the sequel when that came out. And I think, for both of us, like, decent time, but definitely maybe just a step down. Maybe it just wasn't as new and fresh, whatever it is. And then, we don't have VR, so we haven't played that. So we've been away from this. I don't think either of us got either the DLC for the, like, burning LA or whatever the heck it was called for Horizon 2. So it's been a few years since we've been out of it. But yeah, just this week they announced that Guerrilla is the next Horizon game is going to be Horizon Hunters Gathering, which is a 3-player multiplayer Horizon game.
3-player.
Yeah,
it's
they've
all
switched
the
up
jazz.
Yeah, it's pretty much picture Elden Ring Night Rain, but with Horizon, Horizon world characters, enemies, that kind of thing. So definitely a switch up of the art style, but yeah, 3-player multiplayer thing. They've talked about different modes. They're going to add characters, so it's going to be a live service thing, which is kind of interesting because I feel like with Sony, there was I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago now, they were like, oh yeah, we're going all in on live service games. They've like greenlit like 10, 12 of them, something like that. Seems like every studio was going in on that. And then they had a switch up of CEO leadership. A lot of those things got canceled. You had things like Concord, which was a big failure. And it seems like, just kidding, we're going to reverse course on this. But then you have things like this that leak through, and it appears that Guerrilla is now working on what appears to be a live service game multiplayer with one of their big flagship series, something like Last of Us multiplayer, Last of Us Factions for after Last of Us 2. That got canceled, right? They decided, hey, we're not going ahead with that. But Horizon, like years after all this kind of discourse, is getting a multiplayer game. It is a seemingly live service. They talk about they're going to add more characters and maps, and probably have microtransactions coming out the ass on this one with different costumes. And, there's like a $50 like pack to play as Aloy, I'm sure, like stuff like that. So there was, it was nice the way they launched this, because they had like 10-minute trailer-ish, which, had a cinematic trailer. It had gameplay sequences. It had a call to action to come, play test the game for us, come work for us for free, the classic. But it showed a lot of stuff, and it was almost like a little mini Xbox developer direct. You really got into the studio. It was very well produced and all that. So what did you think of Horizon Hunters Gathering? Are you interested in this, and what did you think of kind of what we got here?
I was interested in the concept. So far, what the execution is, I'm not really there for it. It's something that we pitched, but I know you and me always talked about what they did with Ghost of Tsushima and Legends. Man, what if we could get something like that? I'm not saying the same idea of Legends, mythological, but just kind of that game, but us taking down dinosaurs together, right? Whether it's in a story mode or just kind of what Legends is, where you're dropped on a map and there's some tasks, fighting, whatever. And so I got... no excitement, and then excited, and then not excited again, because Fem McCoy had dropped the trailer in the chat, but I saw a little bit of it, and from the art style, I didn't even think it was like the Horizon we had played. I just thought, okay, it's one of those like the Outer Wilds, Outer World situation where, it's just like another Horizon something, right? So I didn't even like check it at all. And the same thing too, like people were talking about Horizon as a franchise on my timeline as well, and I was like, where is this coming from? And then I completely understand now. And that's where, for me, the first thing is the art style. It's, for me, like, at least the character designs, a lot of them feel like a kind of what I said to you is like a knockoff Fortnite sort of look, and I wish it was something more distinct. And I don't think this is anything I'm going to be checking out. Maybe if it's rave reviews and I imagine it's gonna. I can't remember. Do you say it's gonna be free to play or is it gonna be? Is
I
it
don't think
TBD?
they actually mentioned anything about what the cost structure of it is going to be.
So for me, that's I don't know. I think there was an idea of a multiplayer Horizon that I'm very excited on. This I don't think is that. Unfortunately, I don't think this is what I'm kind of juicing for right now. And even stuff. Because even something like the Elden Ring one, I had some excitement, but then we learned some stuff about that kind of, okay, maybe we'll get to that someday. And then I think it reviewed like pretty well, but I don't think it was like a must play. But I was hoping if it could capture some sort of magic like that Legends mode could, then maybe that'd get me back in the franchise. Even if it was like a $20-$30 thing of if it was the same fun we had at Legends, then great. But yeah, this isn't, I don't think this is exactly for me. And I don't know, Horizons is a big IP for Sony, but I don't know if it has crossed over yet. I'd have to look, and I feel like it hasn't done that well. I'd have to look at what that Lego game did, because I feel that was always an odd one to me of like, I don't think Horizon's that brand's the same thing. I don't think it's that brand either, where there's tons of other IPs that try this or based off things. So yeah, I'm not sure on this one. How about you?
Well, actually, now that you mentioned the Lego one, I totally forgot about that when I was giving the recap there. I think that's on PS Plus now, or the catalog. Have you checked it out at all?
No.
Any interest?
No interest. No. With the amount of Lego games we got, I'll get to that. And that's just like I don't know. I guess there could be fun, but I just always thought it was an odd fit. I guess it wasn't. There's not enough there for me to be. Oh, I got to play it in Lego.
Yeah, I wonder how it sold. I mean, just given the fact that it also launched on the Switch 1, I think. So that seems like it could be a good place where that would sell pretty well. Yeah, funny with this, like I saw this announcement, and at first I was like, Hunter's Gathering, what a stupid title. And honestly, a week later, I'm like, I kind of love this title. I think that's a fun like play on words. I kind of like it. And when I first saw it, like I guess the thumbnail art like posted in our Discord of like what this game is, I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. Like they kind of stepped away from their art style. And then, just this last hour is actually when I sat down to watch this 10-minute presentation that they had for it. And I think it turned me around in quite a big way. I actually really like the art style in action. A lot of it does feel like quite a departure from what the world looks like and the types of characters and all these characters like different hair colors and crazy Overwatchy kind of designs. You can feel that inspiration. Like one of the guys looks exactly like Junkrat from Overwatch, and it feels like that. But I do like the designs. I think a couple of them are a little generic, but other ones I think are pretty cool, both in the cinematic and in like the actual gameplay sequences that we got to see. I think the art style of like the environments is really detailed, really well done. It has like kind of the cell shading to it. It feels pretty distinct. I think kind of the cartooniness mixed with like the very high tech stuff, in Horizon. Like anytime you like click, I forget the name of the headpiece thing, but when you do that, and you get like this whole vision to it. Yeah, like that combined with the cartooniness, I actually think looks really cool. Seeing like even like what the cauldron looks like with this kind of art style, I think it really pops and stuff. So I like the art style. I think it looks decent. I think the gameplay looks pretty fun. Like the animations are really, really good. Like some of the movement, it seems like this game's very movement heavy, which is something I like. And from what I've seen in like the descriptions of it, articles and stuff, it seems like it is very Monster Hunter-y, because Monster Hunter is about hunting down big monsters with your friends like this. But it seems like they're trying to go a different route where Monster Hunter, it can take like a half an hour to kill one monster sometimes. Like it's just these long, grueling battles, and that's a big part of the appeal of those games, but it's not an appeal for me. But it seems like the battles are going to be much quicker here, and it's going to have the same thing of like, breaking off parts, and I think that sort of thing is really fun with friends, potentially. And then it's adding in the classic stuff like, different classes you can play. Support type, range class, close range. There's, the classic battle royale smoke is going to close in on you as like the battles go on. And so, in a lot of ways, it just feels like, okay, we want Horizon, but we want it to be co-op, which is a rumor that was like years ago. So I assume this is what those rumors were pointing towards. But it also does feel like, much like a cauldron, like it was kind of made in a lab. It feels like it's lacking, or really, it doesn't really have anything unique or novel about this. It truly is just like, okay, what are popular trends right now? What are things that sell? What are things that are going to be extremely low risk, which I think is something we see a lot from particularly Sony right now, and just how expensive games are, and obviously they keep closing studios and stuff like that. The more they can make games that are low risk is good for their bottom line, I guess. And so you get something like this, which feels like it doesn't really have much of a heart or soul to it, and it doesn't really tie in with what Horizon as a series has been necessarily. But it could work. It could work. So I'm open to it. I think I just got to see what the price point is on it, because even
Yeah.
Night Rain, which was cheaper than a regular Elden Ring game, was high enough that I'm like, I don't want to pick this up just to like try it. It needs to be
Yeah.
much lower if I just want to jump in. Maybe if I had like a free weekend, try it out, maybe I'd love it. And honestly, if you're very much not interested in this, and you were probably someone I would have played multiplayer with, and you're not getting it, then that greatly reduces the odds I would pick it up. And like, yeah, I would rather play Legends in Ghost of Yotai than I would, take a gamble on this, especially when I didn't really love the second game as much. And I'm like not quite as enamored with the world as I once was back in 2017 when the first game came out. So I think there is a lot of good stuff in here, but it didn't. I guess it didn't sell me immediately. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think this is like a 2027 kind of game in terms of what we can expect for a release date? I feel like definitely not this year would be my presumption.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be smart to put out this year. I think it's already cluttered enough. Yeah, I could see like a Q1, Q2, maybe more like Q2 of next year. I'm not sure. And I guess with this, is it going to be, what platforms is it going to be available on? Is it just going to be PlayStation? Or
I
imagine
assume we just see
PC?
PS5, yeah. Maybe they do PC if they really want to bump that multiplayer side of it up.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about like the forecast of this thing. If it's just PS5 and it's just this, I don't get. Yeah, I'm gonna say Q2. I'm gonna say they need some time to pump it up. I'm gonna say a lot of the fall and the before then is gonna be focused on GTA and Wolverine. So I think they're gonna want to use the back half of that. Give it a Game Award spot, maybe. Like I know Sony doesn't always show up there, but like I think that's what's needed there if they got some good stuff. Pay Jeff and he'll make it end the show maybe, and then Q1. So that's what my long form prediction is. Long forecast is 2027 Q2.
Mm-hmm. Outside of the like art style, which you don't seem to be a big fan of, what did you think of just the character designs in general? Like, do they feel like Horizon characters to you, or did they feel like something else entirely?
It feels like they base start at Horizon characters, but then there's a lot of like add-ons. It feels like there's stuff where if you were to if you're Aloy and you found some area, it's like you can add this to Aloy or you can do this. That's where it feels like. So I think the spirit's still enough there, but it still looks different enough that's why for me it didn't catch my eye of like right away of seeing the title and those characters and go, oh, it's not like Aloy that has like not the loincloth, but you know what I mean, kind of like this kind of like the shaggy, stuff with fur, and she has like the feather in her hair and then the braids and stuff. I think that's where it still looks enough like the world, but not distinctly enough where it's right away, oh, that's her. Like I don't think these most of these characters could just plop right down maybe into the first two games and not noticeable,
Definitely. There definitely was a big highlight on what is the guy's name, like Aloy's friend, the big handlebar mustache.
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
Aaron or
Aaron sounds familiar. I don't know if it's exactly that, but it sounds like you're in the ballpark there.
Because he got like more screen time in this than Aloy. Like Aloy is almost like it's almost like a pass the torch moment where she pretty much just hands it off to him. We get a quick shot of what she looks like in his art style. And then he kind of takes over. But he also didn't appear to be one of the playable characters, at least like one of the launch ones that they were highlighting. So I don't know, maybe he's like the trainer. Maybe he like preps the next era of hunters, I guess.
I think to me that's smart because I think even though you want to use a character to prop something up, you also don't want to mix the market and think that Aloy's in this game and it's like another game. Like I know people will understand that, but still the idea is like I feel like they want to make it that when you're seeing Aloy, that's a proper third single player Horizon, right? So that's where I think there's good illusions, but I think you don't want to have her be the trainer or anything like that. You want to kind of keep her special, and I don't think there's gonna be any story stuff, but if in case there was, you can keep that separate. So I think that makes sense. She's not in there that much, and you use this guy, maybe another guy in there, and we'll see what happens. But I think that's smart because we know we're getting a third at some point in the next, I'd say, 5 years. Does that sound too crazy to say?
I mean, I assume that would be that's either being made concurrently with this or the game after this. Because I mean, even is it a movie or a show that was announced for Horizon?
A show on Netflix and Horizon Dawn. When did Dawn 2 come out? I can't even find it right away.
2022.
Sounds
2023 maybe.
Yeah, 2022. You're right. So and we're already 4 years. So I think I'm fine with saying the next 5 years we'll probably get a third. I know because we haven't talked about this yet, but like I wonder if that was maybe not a launch game, but to plan to be in that era of the PlayStation 6, because we've heard a lot of rumors that the idea was to launch in 2027, but now because of RAM prices and stuff, they're like, we're not doing that anytime soon. So I wonder, like, I could even see, because 2027 is next year. I feel like you could put this game out, then maybe the year after, a year and a half after, that's when you get a Horizon 3. Because I don't think you want to put these out in the same year. I know they're different audiences, but still just to like avoid confusion. So.
Yeah, I mean, man, even like just zooming back to 2017 when we played that original game, to see where the series is at now is so interesting. And like VR game is maybe the least surprising thing, but a Lego game, getting like a multiplayer game, maybe like a trilogy, getting a TV show in there. It's like they're really trying to pump this thing, and I wonder if we're just gonna like be getting Horizon every couple of years, like in some shape or form, for the next like 20 years. Like it seems like they want to make it like a staple that is constantly around, like ever present.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, though, because I looked up, there's not obviously with game and units, it's hard to find, but this was the first week sales may have been as low as 25 to 30,000 units. The game failed to break the top 50 in the charts.
Is this Lego you're talking about?
This is the Lego one, yeah, with low player counts reported on Steam and poor performance across PlayStation, Nintendo Switch. So the reason I'm talking about that is you got that. You got this game that doesn't do, to me, I don't think it's going to do that well. I think that's where, when you're asked, like, oh, will we see one almost every few years? I don't think it will happen, but we've seen franchise all before. God of War, Halo, where a couple missteps in a franchise and they kind of take a break and they lose some luster. I think if 3 doesn't really deliver, that's when you can kind of see it maybe disappear for a little bit and take an even longer break. And maybe Guerrilla Games is like, oh, we're going to go do something else, and then we'll come back to, Horizon at a different point, right? Because I hope it's good. And at the same point, it's tough because like I don't know where I am in the third, because I think when we first reviewed second, I was like, I think I could have said I was out, like I was happy with the franchise, but as longer times goes, like I do love those mechanics, and I do like still aspects of the world. Even like we said, there's some things in that game that kind of hurt the Aloy character for me, but there's still aspects that's like I would love to pick up Horizon again and love it like I did that first one, right? So I'm not completely out. So I think there is going to be some people that miss it, but I do think they have to obviously, like all games, but still deliver for them to kind of make this somewhat franchise, because the TV show that could go anyway. We could see great adaptation, we could see a poor adaptation. I think a TV show helps, but at the same time, is that still going to happen now? Netflix is with Warner Brothers. Is they going to want to go that route?
Right? Yeah, it seems like a potentially quite expensive
yes.
show to make. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this one. I mean, I'm not going to sign up for the beta. I don't want to do the test of this, but I'm curious when it does hit 1.0, what it looks like when it comes out. Like I said, presume it's going to be next year sometime, and I'll definitely keep my eye on it, because it did look pretty cool. Why do you think they did this like a few days before this 1 hour long state of play? I guess because that state of play is already so long, they're just like, we don't want to pack more and more in there. But interesting that they wanted to kind of get this out separately from the state of play that's now coming up in just a couple days.
That to me is a huge error. Like even a 30-second teaser and then be like, you're going to find out
the juice. Maybe they didn't want to put too much juice in one spot.
Maybe. I just feel like you do a 30-second teaser, and then the stuff that we're talking about now, you say like, oh, more info next week, and then you're going to drop, here's a longer one, here's some details. To me, that doesn't forebode good things. That's what I was going to ask you. Does this game for sure come out?
I think so, yeah. Okay.
I'm a 60-40 on it coming out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, after Concord happened, Sony proved that they can, if they feel not confident on something, they'll pull it quicker. And I could just see that you're talking about these play tests. If they go through them and it doesn't have a good experience and things happen, like even Last of Us, right? Last of Us is a much bigger franchise.
It sounded like Last of Us though was so mismanaged that it was like years away still, whereas this at least seems like we're pretty close. I don't think they've ever done layoffs at Guerrilla. They've done layoffs at Naughty Dog of all places, which is crazy, and all sorts of other studios. But I don't think they've ever laid anyone off at Guerrilla, so I think they're like full force on this
yeah,
still.
I hope so. No, and I hope they come out, especially for the biggest thing for people's work profiles, right? Because that's the biggest thing. Even the people that did both Concords, like you can't even be like, oh, look what I worked on these past 4 years. It's just gone. You can look at snippets, but then you're just kind of like this meme resume thing, right? So for me, it's just, you're right. Last of Us was mismanaged, and this is a lot further along. It's just that if you were still going to take a gamble Last of Us is a massive IP for Sony and them, right? And they still might have been like, you know what, we don't know how this is going to go, but we still think we get a big chunk of sales and stuff. I don't think Horizon's in that camp, and that's what we're going to see, right? Because with Lego, maybe not so much, and then with this, they might learn that Horizon is just. It's a single player game. That's what Horizon is. People are there for that. They're there for Aloy's story or whoever carries on that story. It might not be a brand that can space out to all these other places. So I'll say it comes out, but like I wouldn't be surprised one day because we have multiple games like these past couple of years that are like big games, right? That were just announced and now they're just gone, right? Superhero games, Last of Us, Concord, like things. So it would not surprise me in 6 months from now we're talking on Sidequest like, oh, this Horizons game not coming out now for some reason because we can get a tax write-off on it, you know?
Yeah. I feel pretty strongly that it will release, but hey, so many things getting canceled these days. Any last minute predictions before this state of play? Do you have any big interesting hot takes of what you think we're going to see on Thursday?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because it's 60
Probably
minutes,
a Wolverine
60
trailer.
plus. I don't think so because this is not my get. I saw a lot of people point out that the next time they were going to talk about it, someone said somewhere that it's going to be like a dedicated Wolverine one. So I think so. Unless this is that, which I don't think it is, maybe you see like a snippet, but I don't think anything big and juicy is what I'll say. I don't think another big trailer. I think that makes sense if they're going to do their own one to kind of highlight that. It is curious because they haven't done anything in a while. This is 60 minutes, which people said it's like one of, if not the longest one. It's tough because we've even got reports. It was, I think, in a Jason Schreier article somewhere where Sony kind of used GTA as like, not that they're wrong, as like a console seller. Like it is, right? We've talked about it before. There's tons of people that will buy PlayStation 5 because they're going to get GTA. So they're in an interesting situation where they have Wolverine, which is going to move units, and then they have GTA that they think, hey, it's not exclusive, but it may as well be exclusive. So I wonder if this is like, it's 60 minutes, so you feel like there's going to be some stuff, but I felt like this could be not a coast year, but is there anything else I'm missing other than Wolverine that's PlayStation exclusive this year? That's like big AAA? Or
that
even
we
double
know
A?
of? I don't
Yeah.
think so.
And that's why for me, I kind of thought they were maybe just going to coast on those two for a bit. You know, coast, get that money, and then 2028 when the schedule's cleared up a little bit, here's this, here's that. I know there's supposedly, what's that rumor of the God of War game that's
The 2D God of War?
Yeah, so that I could see something like that. Like something, because that's still big, but that's not as big as like Wolverine or a new God of War, right? It's just something else. I did see something, which I'm not sure if you get a kick out of this, but the actor who was in Detroit Become Human, he played like the main robot, the guy. He shared it with like an eyes emoji, so people were wondering like, is there something there, or is that game getting some sort of like remaster or like something higher specs on the PlayStation 5? So I don't know. I would love something massive to happen because I might try and do a watch long if I'm free. I don't know. I'm looking at the Thursday. Depends how work's going, but I feel like it's gonna be stuff like the God. I think there'll be one big thing. Even the God of War thing could be the one big thing. I think it's gonna be stuff like that where it is bigger, smaller stuff. I don't expect a big look at Wolverine or any other solo IP stuff, in my opinion. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, I guess, sorry, the other one I just remembered, Saros, but, I don't know if there's anything crazy to say about that. It's probably just a new trailer, so I'm sure we'll see that one in there. I feel like this will be in there again because they really want people to sign up for the beta playtest thingy, so I'm sure they'll probably say it again just to reiterate that. And then, God of War, that would be really cool to see because hopefully that actually does happen. I'm trying to think what else would... maybe some... would they put any like Xbox port things like Starfield in a state of play? That would be interesting to see if that crossed the aisle moment. I wonder if they would do something like that.
Yeah, because when we got that Jones reveal, that was still an Xbox show, right? When it's coming to PS5?
PS5 and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't think we've seen any of these Xbox first parties in a state of play or a PlayStation showcase yet. Like they're just kind of dropped on Twitter or like in Xbox shows with the PlayStation logo.
And I feel like that's also by design because until Xbox goes full like third party, I think it's still like let's keep the brand somewhat separate so people don't get confused. But
Halo could be in here.
I was gonna say Halo is the one
that
where
would be cool.
Starfield, like it was a big game, of course, but Halo's like that's Halo, right? That's an iconic series.
Will come out. That was pretty recently. I guess they don't have a new one ready to go. Right?
I think Halo wouldn't be in here because Halo's not confirmed for this year, right? Or is it?
It is, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Does it have a date?
Halo Campaign Evolved. Let's see.
I was gonna say if that's dated, I feel like that'd be a bit closer, in my opinion. Like that's like let's say if that was coming out in March, then I'd say I think that's in the same play, just to remind people. But if it's not dated, I don't think so.
Just this year, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could see it just like I said, closer to when we got a release date. Naughty Dog, they're working on Intergalactic. I don't think anything's happening there unless they're going to announce another remaster of some Last of Us thing.
Oh, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, maybe? That could be the big one.
Yeah, I could see that. Even though the rumors it's not going to be like timed exclusive this time, I could see that as still like let's plant the flag
the
and
marketing thing for
yeah, let's like, and that's still a brand. Like no matter what people say, like I still associate with Final Fantasy and Kingdom Heart with that. The same way it doesn't matter
I mean, if
in
they have
years.
that and God of War, like good state of play. Succeed.
You know, a bunch of you know what I would want is the actual official rollout for when Legends is coming out for Ghost of the Yotai.
Yeah, that's got to be in there. That's a good call. Yeah.
I hope so, yeah, because that will be the, you know, again, it's coming at a time where I don't know if I want to be purchasing other games, but at least maybe next Christmas or something like that. Do you think this could be a crazy one? I feel like this is actually not that crazy. I feel like it could work because I don't know what they do. I don't think they do their own shows really. What if we get that confirmation of that Witcher DLC? I think you could see it here.
Ooh.
Because like is CD Projekt Red going to do their own? Like I guess they could just drop it, but I feel like this could be a good partnership of like.
I'm trying to think because Cyberpunk was really closely marketed alongside PlayStation stuff, right? Is that true?
I think so, and it's just it's the bigger console, right? So it's just like you go where the eyes are. State of Play is usually to pull numbers. The reason I'm saying that is just because there was another report that came out this week, and again, which I hate, they keep hitting that like the date is May, like that, like multiple people keep dating like saying it is May or around May. So it's like, well, if it's May, you kind of want to start maybe pumping that out a little bit, the marketing. So I could see that that's also something that could, even though it's not Sony exclusive, that could end this thing as the Witcher DLC. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, also, I feel like Resident Evil's probably going to have a trailer here, too.
Of course, yes.
They spam marketing, and they're very closely assigned. So, I mean, you know, some of these things are just updates, but I think due for a fun show. I mean, it's an hour, so you're probably going to get some sauce. You're probably going to get some dull moments. You might get a 15-minute VR section that...
I was going to ask you with the VR if we get anything, yeah.
But, I mean, they got to do something. They sell this hardware. They need software to boost it up, so... Yeah, that should be a fun one. And Travis, I know you're not scheduled to be on next week, but if it's a juicy one and you want to join, you are more than welcome.
If it's juicy, I might have to find a way. It is family day, so I might be around. I might not be around, but if it is juicy, I might fly in. So we'll see what happens. So I hope it's juicy.
Good, yeah. Let us. You know what? Maybe it's a good time to take a quick break from all this excitement. Thank our Patreon producers: Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Superbad Mike, TGGLM69, aka NRF, Hidalgo, Lenny Kravitz, Cocktail Clay, John with not a single H in sight, Sam Green, and John M. Thank you all for supporting the show, keeping the lights on, keeping the batteries in the controller, if you will.
I like that. Yeah.
Patreon, you know, it is by far the best place to go if you want to support this podcast here that we do all the time. And yeah, this year in particular, like we are just pumping it on the I don't know why I said it that way. On the
we
Patreon
are pumping
side
it
of
though.
things.
There's a lot of pump, a lot of squeeze.
So many exclusive episodes doing more bread and more butter than you've ever seen before. Resident Evil retrospectives are starting soonish.
Next week,
which is crazy. So
yeah,
I got to watch a bunch of these movies that I've never seen before, so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
and,
I'm excited.
Yeah, all sorts of other things. You get episodes early, you get ad-free, you get to vote. All sorts of voting power. Is Golden Geeks voting still occurring currently?
Not yet. I was going to drop it, but we're not recording that up, so I'm waiting a little bit closer so it doesn't get lost in the clutter. Because then if people have had it before, if they join Patreon, they're like, where's the vote? And it's like, oh, that was a month and a half ago. So
That's perfect. People got time to sign up
Feb.
and get ready to vote then, for sure.
Yeah.
To help us decide what the best movies of last year were. And yeah, this week, you know, me and you, Travis, we did a coverage of all the Super Bowl trailers, which I highly recommend that episode because there was a couple trailers and some of them were all right, but really I think we just had some very fun conversations. We really went down some rabbit holes that were really worth going down. So that was a good episode. And then we'll be back later this week in theory, Weekly Geek, if there's some good juice to talk about there.
Yeah.
So yeah, should be. It's a me and you kind of week this week.
It is. Taya's on vacation. Kirkland in his finals, or he's just hiding. But yeah, the plasma is flowing here at Geek First, so enjoy it.
Plasma's flowing.
Enjoy it.
Speaking of plasma flowing, let's send the ad plasma to your ear. I gotta stop with these weird sayings. We're gonna throw some quick ads. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. So let's jump the aisle here from Sony over to Xbox. And this is a quick hit, not going to be as in-depth as we just were with Horizon Hunters Gathering and all that other stuff. But announced this week, Obsidian has said, or Xbox, whoever it was, came out and said, Outer Worlds 2 did not do so great on the sales side of things. And they confirmed that they are not going to make another one, which, the way they word it sounds as if like that was the plan, but then the game kind of didn't do very well, at least to their projections, I suppose, for how big those projections are, which must be huge these days, and must be hard to hit with Game Pass and all that. But yeah, I think this is an interesting thing to talk about, more so just like, with hindsight, 2020, why did this game not do so well? And I think there's like a variety of reasons. One, this game came out kind of right after they did the extremely insane price hikes of Game Pass, and so I don't know if that factors into this, where like the player numbers are not there because a lot of people unsubscribed. Like I think I'm trying to pace out when this stuff happened. I feel like the price hike happened, and then it was like about a month or like a couple weeks afterwards is when this game came out. So you can picture a lot of people, including myself, like, oh, I had just canceled the service and I am not going to be playing this game anymore. And I did like the first one, and I would like to play this one, but then also like this game was, because it was something like they made it really expensive, like it was like a $70 or $80 thing or whatever, and then they like bumped it down because people were like really pissed about that.
Yeah.
There's also still ongoing is like the Xbox boycott, which a lot of people are supporting, and so that kind of aligns with a game like this, people not wanting to pick it up for that particular reason. So I feel like there's a few things, but I don't know. I feel like the game had really good marketing. I heard really good buzz about it. I feel like all the previews were extremely positive. Like this game's way better than the first one, and the first one was already like a pretty solid game. So yeah, I don't know. I guess throwing over to you, why do you think went wrong here? And you haven't really played the series, but does this bother you much that we're not going to see more of this series in the future?
Well, it does in a sense. Like I remember I bought it from you and I tried it, and I didn't like love what I was playing, but I had always said to you that, you know what, I think I want to give it another go, because I don't know if it was just the timing of it or whatnot. And that's where when this type of stuff happens, like I shouldn't. It's still like $1 billion corporation, but you're like, oh man, like what if I would have also played the first one, played the second one? Because I always want like new franchises to grow, right? I don't want to be in a situation where, and luckily we just talked about Horizon, right? That is one that did, but I don't want to be in a situation 10 years from now where we're still like, here's another Gears, here's another Halo, here's Fable, it's like
Halo campaign evolved.
Exactly, right? And even that stuff happens with Uncharted and Last of Us. One's hints like, okay, let's make everything. And you should, of course, right? But that's where I still want there to be new stuff. So I was always pulling for in that sense, and I always wanted to give it another go, and two, because I've heard other good things about it. So I think it's a shame that way. I was kind of surprised the way they just kind of openly just admit, like, we're not doing another one. Like you said, it was iffy if they're going to always do that, but I was kind of surprised they even just kind of singled it out. Like, yeah, don't expect any more of that. Because, like, I don't know why, like, I don't even know if you say that, because you never know in, like, 5 years, what if some meme happens and, people picked it up, or who knows, or you dust it off, or you do a smaller version. I don't know. I do agree with your assessment. I think the Games Pass thing has a lot to do with it, because I also unsubscribed. The only way I still play Games Pass is Taylor's Xbox is still logged in my Xbox due to Extra Life, and I've not logged out. And he doesn't listen to podcasts, so I don't know if he's gonna know. He's like, oh, you should log out of them. I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry, I will, and I forgot about it. And I think he's okay with it, but we'll see. I'm not buying anything, of course. But I think that has a lot to do with it. I think, again, it's just like all of us, right? It's just, I think we've seen this with a lot of games. We're talking about even canceled games or games that are not performing. It's just the market share is too much for every content sort of thing, right? I think with and we talk about this all the time with us. Like that's like when there was hundreds, I'll say thousands of podcasts when we started in 2015. Now I feel like that's like 100 times more, like even to the point, I've talked about this before, where even charting on Apple's so much harder now. Back in the day, we used to chart all the time. Remember, we'd be like, oh, we're top 10, this, that. You know why it's so hard? Because now the top 20, top 50, it's all like Office rewatch with so-and-so, 30 Rock rewatch with Tina. It's just like, it's a bunch of other people, because I'm not saying go get your bag, but a bunch of people went, oh, well, we can make money doing this, right? With video games, I think it's just different, where I think we're seeing a lot of studios where there's big head honchos, and we're seeing a lot of people where it's always like, oh, an X dev from this, an X dev from that, which is great, but they also don't get the name value and the brand backing them. So that's the idea of like, oh, even Crimson Desert coming up, right? It's like, oh, well, a bunch of people, or no, not that one. It's the Bloodwalker one or the vampire one.
Yeah, that game. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But remember last time we talked about it, we were talking about, oh, it's from a couple of creators of Witchers. And like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. It looks very Witcher-esque, but they don't have they don't get to do those logos. They don't get to do the CD Projekt Red. So that's the thing where it's like, it's great in concept. And that's why I want this still to succeed, because I want there to be more in this world where there's so many layoffs and so many studios closing down or getting halved. Want them to succeed. Also, I know it's tied with Xbox, but still just something to kind of an offshoot, and maybe it's somewhere, hey, we could leave and do our own thing or something. So, and I always do think it was we talked about this from the beginning. It was very tough competition when it was like, we're the other Fallout. And I know that's not what they ever said, but that's what they were, right? It felt like it was Fallout adjacent, where it's similar look and similar humor and similar vibe sort of thing.
From
And
New Vegas developers, that was a big part of the marketing of it.
Yeah, and I think what kind of screws it in this era, especially when we start, but more so now when we talk about The Last of Us and all these other games that get remakes, the fact that now if a Fallout show comes out, and maybe back in the day, 15 years ago, oh, I want to play Fallout. Oh, but there's an old game. I don't know nothing. Oh, there's a game like Fallout. Oh, I'm going to try that out. Nowadays, you got Games Pass. You can just play Fallout, multiple Fallouts, and that's the thing where, and again, that's for, I think, another thing for the world, people and money-wise, right? Games Pass is still expensive, but it might be less expensive. It is less expensive than taking a risk on a new game. Now, I guess this was on Games Pass, so I guess that doesn't make sense in that
I think
sort
it
of
was
realm.
just so close to the price hike that people didn't have that mentality with it. They're like, that was like the last thing people in the world wanted to do was, let me subscribe to Game Pass right now after it just went up 50% in cost, or up to 100% in cost, depending on where you live in the world.
And that's where I'm curious. Again, we talk about in the movie, so I'm curious to the business side in a couple of years with Nintendo and PlayStation. And this, I remember, I don't know why I say I remember, this happened a few months ago, but remember all those reports of how bad this last Call of Duty did for them. Not just critically, though, but like all the downloads and everything. And it's the same thing. Does that come down to the Games Pass hike? Is it a bunch of other stuff? Is it just purely people didn't like this Call of Duty? You don't know, but it's like, well, you had Outer Worlds, which was this franchise they're trying to build, and okay, lackluster sales. You have Call of Duty, that's like a juggernaut. Okay, lackluster downloads compared to last few times, right? So it's the tough thing of like, that's where Games Pass... I always thought there were pros to it, but I feel like now we're starting to see some of the effects of that collapse. And also it's because of those hikes too, right? So I don't know. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. But it was just a bummer when I saw that, and it was just like a full on, oh yeah, 3's not even an option. Not even like, oh, we have no plans right now, but maybe down the line. I hope maybe at some point it will, but if not, then... they got those 2 games, and I feel bad because I want to play them, but I guess I'm not going to fall behind on the series now. So,
yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to be too disappointed from the perspective that I still haven't played the second game. I'm part of the problem.
Yeah,
part of the reason why it didn't sell as well. I did like the first game. I played it, quite enjoyed it the first time, and then went back and played it again with all the DLCs, and kind of soured a little bit on it. One of the DLCs was really great though, so that like brought my hype up a little bit. And I was really excited for the second one. I think it was just the timing of it. I talked about on the podcast a few times how, man, right at the end of October, or anywhere like midway to October until like the end of December, I was so burnt out. I was not playing anything. So the fact that this came out in the period when I wasn't playing like any video games at all, maybe like 5 hours a week or something, even less than that, a couple hours a week of video games. Like, I'm not playing a 30-hour RPG right now. So it was just really bad timing for me personally, but also like I had played, I wonder how much this is part of it. Avowed came out earlier in the same year. I had another Obsidian RPG that I played that same year, and then even for those people, it's like, yeah, Grounded 2 also like launched earlier in the summer. It wasn't 1.0 or whatever, but even if you're just like an Obsidian fan, you would even be burnt out by having like 3 games in a year potentially. So,
which is interesting because in that same report, they also talked about that they viewed Avowed didn't hit the marks they wanted to, and they still said they're planning on going forward with that franchise. Maybe it's just because Outer Worlds 2 was a sequel, so okay, well, let's do one more, see if it grows, and we'll go from there. But now already if you're in a boardroom, you could already argue that might be a risky move, right? To be like, are we gonna? You guys are saying this first one disappointed from our what we wanted to hit. Okay, we're gonna make another one. What happens if it's even less than that, right? Because Outer Worlds at least gave a chance. Avowed, I didn't. I haven't talked to many people that have. So I don't know. It's a tricky situation to be with. I'm curious what they, other than Avowed, what they do next over there. So.
Yeah, I mean, when I hear anything like this, it makes me worried about like, okay, does this like impending layoffs or something? Is that why Avowed's getting a sequel and this isn't? Because this game just
Yeah.
came out underperformed, and they're gonna lay off the team that worked on this. You hope not, but Xbox is that's part of their routine right now. Is game comes out, does even good, and they'll lay you off. So it's like I don't know how you win with this company at this point. You're just fucked ever since they did the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, right? Like the standards have to be so incredibly high, and even if you achieve some of those standards, you still get canned. So it's just extremely rough over there. So like I don't know, I feel like I've always been saying, especially in these last few years, man, Obsidian is just crushing it for Xbox. Like the scale of games they're making, the variety of games, the frequency of games, like it seems like the things that they're doing, it seems like they really meshed well into the Game Pass structure of things, of having more frequent output, smaller scale games. People love a nice like 15, 20 hour RPG right now. Like Outer Worlds, like that kind of stuff is like the perfect scale for what people want, especially when they're subscribed to a service where in theory they have to play a bunch of games every month to get their money's worth. And so people want to, experience multiple things. And so, yeah, as I just mentioned, last year, having 3 games come out, Pentiment not too long before that, Outer Worlds 1 not even that far before Pentiment. All of that. So like they've just been releasing a whole lot of stuff, and I hope that if any studio can be safe, it's them, because they're just having that output. But yeah, maybe the silver lining here, maybe they're not doing Outer Worlds 3 because they finally figured this shit out and they can get on the next Fallout game. Maybe that's extremely wishful thinking, but hey, maybe that is what's going on, because we know that Elder Scrolls 6 is the next thing from Bethesda. That's still going to take a long time. There's big rumors about this next Starfield DLC. They're not going to be working on the next Fallout for 10 years probably. So but get someone else to do it, and who better than the team that made what is a lot of people's, including mine, favorite Fallout game. So maybe that could be what they're doing next, and maybe that's like, yeah, that that's going to sell a whole lot more than Outer Worlds 3 would.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I feel like maybe that is the hopeful thing. It's kind of the dream, but honestly, they're all under the same umbrella now. That's all owned by Xbox and Microsoft, so could be doable. So maybe there is a silver lining to this. We'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. I'd love to see the stars align, because I think that'd be a very fun day of announcements and people's excitement for it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's move along then over to games we've been playing. I know you have some quick hits, Travis. Take it away in any order you want. I'll follow.
Yeah, so because we're in the Xbox routine, you can solve it on the routine. I screwed that up. Because we're in the Xbox realm, you can go on this routine with me. This is a game that I had seen just trending that people were talking about, and it was feeling very kind of Alien Isolation vibes. I want to give it a shot because I didn't play it fully. I think it's in total, if you were to play, it was maybe 3 hours. Luckily, it's a game where you can. Actually, I don't know. I feel like there's sometimes where I couldn't pause, but that's why next time you have Games Pass, I think you should give it a go, because you always talk about you don't want too many games with like big HUDs or taking you out of it. This is a game that you don't got to map any of that, so there's lots of puzzle solving. There's lots of stuff, and it's very much like Prey. You wake up in a spaceship. Obviously, there's not a big twist or something there, but you wake up in a spaceship and you open a door and it's very desolate. There's things are crashed, broken, wonder what's going on, and you're just trying to figure this out. And because I did one thing and then I had to look at a walkthrough, and this is where it's the type of game where it's a good thing, where I went one place, but the walkthrough started and then went a completely another place. And once I saw, I was like, you know what? I don't got time for this game, because there is no like, oh, you pick up this key and then it's like the classic, the game pauses, zooms out, shows you. It's like, no, you're just supposed to remember this. I think you have like a journal, but you're supposed to remember where this goes, or room names, and it'd be the things like you'll get an elevator and there'll be 4 different rooms and you got to remember what they are, and you're going all over. So, and then the enemy types are kind of fun and kind of creepy. It's a very cool vibes game, and I think the art style and the aesthetics very fun. I at some point maybe want to return to it. So all I can say is like the hour I played of it, I did enjoy it. I was just in the midst of there's other things I have to play and want to play. I was like, I don't want to do the time sink of this right now. I can't, because I think that's a game that if I ever have in the future where the girls go away for a weekend, that's like, okay, I want to just sit down for 4 hours and play it straight through versus save and come back. Yeah. So I think when you ever get back Games Pass, you should try it out. It's cool. Like I said, it does not hold your hand. That's I kept seeing that, and I guess this game was announced like a long time ago, and it seemed like most people were happy with it, because I was looking at Backloggd and people that were following it, but I think the most consensus was that it was very short, but it is a game that doesn't hold your hand. So I think once if I were to play it more and you just kind of know the area and traverse it a lot, you're good to go. But once I got in the elevator, I was like, oh, already I have another floor to kind of memorize here. So I got to come back to it. But I would shut that out for people that like Alien Isolation, that type of vibe of you're in a spaceship, it's old gear that looks new. There's some really cool stuff in there. I would say definitely check it out if you have Games Pass. So yeah, no, it was a good time. And then I tried because I was very excited for this. Luckily it was trending. They made these people, I can't remember, I should have wrote their names and shout them out, but they made a Banjo-Kazooie Mumbomania. I can't remember what it's called, but on Dreams, they took the Dreams game where you can create a bunch of stuff and levels, and they created like were you a Banjo and Kazooie connoisseur back in the day?
I was not,
Okay.
even though it's like extremely my vibe. But then I did play it maybe 5, 6 years ago. I never finished it though, and now that it's on Switch, I think it's on Switch Online.
It is, yeah, both of them, yeah.
So I definitely need to finally knock that off the list. But I've spent more time playing as Banjo in Smash than I've played Banjo, which as a series, which is probably a sin.
That's fair. So what this would be is almost like if you were to, like, many times you walk into like a little thing as Banjo and it like zooms in all black and then goes into like a new location. This is just like a location because obviously it's smaller, right? It's not like a full massive game. You could finish this in about 2 hours, which I did. But that's where it is. It's just a section or a part of the world that you would play. And man, cool. I wish that Rare whatnot would find these people and give them a bunch of money and make a smaller Banjo, even like a couple levels of this. It was crazy. Anyone that's a Banjo fan that wants an updated HD version, they got everything. Like obviously they're uploading stuff, but like the music, the vibe, the layout, the colors, even the stuff when you hit the water, you're getting that like Jaws music and things coming to get you. It was tons of fun. They added their own new mechanic of you being able to transform into enemy types. So you get enough Banjo pieces and then you can do that. So yeah, if there's anybody out there, and luckily for me, I was like, oh, I gotta look into Dreams. I gotta find out how to buy it. I downloaded Dreams like ages ago on the PS4. I tracked it down. I was like, okay, good. So if anyone is like that, has done that, I don't think Dreams is even that much. I think it's like I guess I don't know if I could justify you buying the whole game for that. But if you're a big Banjo fan, I would just say if you have it, definitely try it out. It feels like it's a love letter, and it honestly felt like if I was sat down by Rare and they said, hey, we're making a full Banjo game. This is just like a level. Try it out. It felt like that. It felt so genuine. So I was very excited, and Rare needs to they gotta get on that. I'm waiting for a new Banjo game, big time, you know. But
yeah, shoutouts. I guess the creator is a guy named Euphilis. Euphilase, collaborator Piece of Craft. So
Piece of Craft, yeah, I remember that.
Shoutouts to those people making extremely cool things in Dreams. Which did you check anything else out while you were zoomed in Dreams?
Nada. No, long tutorial, very long tutorial. Looked very cool. I'd never really looked into Dreams, so it might be something I could gather back into. It seemed like I love the vibes and I liked all the creation that's going on. I know other people have done other sort of things and there's some weird stuff in that is mainstream, but
it was like 2 years ago, I think. Media Molecule, like the creator of Dreams, just released like a game in Dreams like a couple years ago that was apparently like super good. Like that like their next title was just, like an hour-long thing in Dreams that apparently is amazing. So I never got around to trying that myself, but yeah, I think there's probably a lot of hidden gems in there at this point in time.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. People are still, it's a PS4 game. They're still using that right now to make things like Banjo or like that game you're talking about, right? So yeah, if there's any Banjo connoisseurs out there, that'll scratch the itch for you. Go out there. And again, I think we talked about Sidequest, but if not, I just found it also very cool that the Rare team even retweeted it and promoted it and thought, oh, this is really cool. Because we've seen that before where other people are like, how can we get this shut down? This isn't right. Like, because there's definitely using some copyrighted sounds and music at times, but it's like, what's it gonna hurt? Because I think, truth to be honest, I don't think they're making a Banjo game anytime. Like, to me, it's like we're in this age right now of nostalgia, and if we didn't hear any more traction after they put them in Smash, it's like, I don't think that's ever happening, really, in my opinion, to like a big degree. So I think that was cool just to be like, hey, this is some part of our history. There's some fans making some stuff. Go watch this, So
love it.
Yeah.
And then WWE, what's going on? Oh
yeah, so I haven't done it yet, but I will be later on this week. Deleting my my 17-day play save file on my WWE 2K25 on my PS5 because March 6th, the new one's coming out. I'm officially locked in and getting it as every year.
Okay.
I wait to see what's happening because GM mode is this thing where there's a very I'd say loud, not minority, because for many years they'd do polls like, what do you want brought back? And that was always the top. But I feel like people are more worried about the move set and the creation community and all that stuff. I feel like the GM community now is back. It's just like, okay, we're happy it's here. But there's dozens of us. There's dozens of us always waiting. And even like the last 2 years, I think it's like the week or two before the game comes out, they always do like these dev weeks where people go and interview people, and they make embargoes where, okay, on Monday you can only talk about this mode, and on Tuesday you can just talk about this mode. GM mode's like always the last mode, like always last mode they talk about. It's happened 2 years in a row. So it does again, I'll update you guys. So we always get like very few nooks and crannies, right? So last year, and that's why I was so surprised. Last year, they're like, okay, we're doing online. And I thought, oh, that's all they're doing. I was going to get that. So obviously we do the stream every month now. So that was fun. But then they added some other things that I really enjoyed. But yeah, we did close out. Finally, I played I had to cold turkey it, Dylan, because GM mode is, I'm sure you have these games where I'll sit down and be, I'm just going to kill some time. And then that becomes the time killer. It's like it takes up the event. And that's where I was like, okay, in December, I had a save file that I was on like season 100 or something. I deleted it. Emily's like, why would you do that? Because I'm like, because I know I'll go back to it. So I deleted it. And I went cold turkey up until last week because I had to warm the fingers for David and S-Bub. So I had to get back in there. But we did that. We did the last 2 weeks. And somehow people probably going to ask me, like, how are you going to keep the streak going? It's what we do. How are you going to take on two guys? It's what we do. Are you going to be 3-0? It's what we do. Because I went 3-0, Dylan, this whole season. But this was the closest it was. I don't know, this doesn't sound like much, but only 46 fans between me and S-Bubs. To give you an impression.
That's crazy.
The first season was 86. The next season was 90. And then he closed the gap by like a whole 50%. So he's learning, especially too, because there's a couple of my strats that I did in season 1 and 2 that he was actively using. People can watch that stream. Nice. We did it. Yeah, we did it. It was a fun stream. We ended that. And then what we're gonna do is for this new game is we're gonna do a stream where we're gonna actually play the wrestling portion in a best of 5, and that'll decide our order for the year. Because the big thing that they did now is, for me, what I've been waiting for is two things that I want, and now they're in a danger zone for me because I don't know if I'm gonna be buying this game next year. Because I think they're kind of like almost scratched off everything I've wanted. I wanted more matches on a show. I got that last year. I wanted matches with more than 4 people. This year you can do matches that are up to 8 people, which I love because I say this every year. They're like, oh, well, we got 400 people in this game. And it's like, well, in GM mode, I only play 26 of them. I'd like a bit more variety. So now that there's like, you can have this big matches, you can add like 8, 16, 20, like you can just add people all you want. Yeah. And then a big thing, which I think because with the original GM mode, because it kept winning those polls, the very first 2 years were very bare bones. It felt like they just pushed it out as like a here, damn, have it. Because there's tons of features. Like these features, like the one I'm telling you, like, oh, a match with 6 people. You could do that on the Xbox 360 version back in 2005. Like all this stuff. So the other thing which they're adding is you can now do a full year. Before, you're only capped at 25 weeks. And then the new season would start over, so things would kind of reset. You got to get new superstars, and they all go back in the pool. Now it's it's not a year, it's 50 weeks. I don't know why they do them increments of 5, but that's okay. I'm not going to complain. If I don't get 2 weeks, that's okay. So for me, that's something I've been waiting for, Dylan, for like since 2007. Because in 2008, they kicked out GM mode, and then I had to wait a long time, and then I think it came back 4 years ago. But yeah, now we can do 50 weeks, which for me is a big thing because anytime we got to the 25, like when you got to week 20, it felt like the game was actually like really starting. It felt like you have your roster set, you have your plans, and then it always sucked that week 25, you reset, you have to re-pick people. You don't always get to keep the people you had before because like if Espos wants someone, he can draft them, right? So for me, the 50 week, I'm very curious for the game, and I'm curious for our stream because now before we did the 25, we're going to be going like a full year on just one save file. So we would do like okay, we end the season, we'll start over. now we're going. So I'm very excited. I cannot wait. Like I said before, with Resident Evil and then this coming up. But yeah, I'm curious what they do now next year. Oh, I guess the other thing is I wasn't asking for this. I'm not opposed to it, but I guess the big thing is, and I think it's funny because I feel like you guys asked about this when we did on Extra Life, is now you can do intergender matches. So now you can have men and women versus each other. So
Okay, cool.
even then there's more options because there's so many times where you'll have one man and one woman, and let's say their stamina is completely fine, but it's like, well, I have nothing to do with them because everyone else is busy.
Yeah.
They can't fight. Now I can just put them in a ring and fight. We don't know if they can have rivalries yet or titles, but that's something that I actually didn't think they were gonna not budge on. I just didn't think they had any interest in doing. But that just, again, which I love, is they're giving more play style for it. I feel like they are. If they're hearing anybody out there like me, if I'm echoing to them, they're hearing like, I want more people on the roster, and that's what they're doing. So
Yeah. Is there anything they removed that you know of?
not well, other than people that are no longer with the company. So sometimes the general managers,
so
if they
roster updates.
yeah, so roster, we know there's a couple of those. I think the big thing for us will be if there's certain power cards removed, because those are a big thing of the game. They always add some, but they do take some away. And I think there's a couple to maybe not take away. We'll have to wait and see. Me and S-Bubs and Dave were talking about, there's a lot of power cards that are very OP. There's one card where before, when it started, it was, I'll play on Dylan and he loses 3 superstars this week. And I thought that was fine. Last year they changed it to 5, and it can just cripple your show. S-Bubs hit me with that twice a season.
A lot. I guess
Yeah.
now you could have bigger rosters, so
Yes.
it balances out. That's how they justify it, I guess.
Or they're gonna OP that card even more. I'm like, you lose 7 people. I don't know. So yeah, we haven't seen anything yet. But so far, like I'd say that in the concurrent years that's happened, we've never really like lost a big feature. They've just been adding on. But it is kind of funny. Finally, now after, like I said, since 2007, they're finally back to the base game. Like they're back to like what it used to play as. So there's some certain features like used to, which I don't really want. There used to be a feature where you could assign storylines. So Dylan and I could like take 3 superstars and be like, you can buy a love triangle storyline, but you need like 2 men and a woman, or 2 women and a man, and you can be like, that's what they're doing. I don't need that because I'm a loser and I book the stories in my mind. In my mind, you can look at my show and be like, I'll tell you why they're fighting. I don't need like a storyline, but like that's something they could add. You also used to do things where you could like send superstars to like a movie lot, or like send them to become a model and stuff. So there's like other RPG stuff that's not in the game that used to be, but that's not anything I'm like needing. So yeah, I'm very excited because for a while I was telling, we didn't announce if we were doing more GM mode because I thought, well, I don't know if I'm buying this game yet because it's a lot of money, and then like for all other games coming out, right? And I'm not like sports games; they don't make too much changes in my opinion, but they make enough here that I'm there. So knock on wood, I'm sure next year we'll talk and maybe we'll add some feature where I'm like, oh, Dylan, they got me again. But I like my wish list is kind of almost complete. Like I think I'm like 90% there. Like, and even the stuff, and even the stuff that I want, it's like, if I don't get it, that's fine. Like it's a want. Where these last 2, the bigger matches and a full year, those were like, I need these. So yeah, it's gonna be very curious because now again, S-Buzz was 46,000 away, but it's like now it's a new game. It's new game, new strategy, new players, new cards. A full year now too, because I would plan for the 25 weeks. Now it's like just the halfway point now. That's a whole other kick caboodle. So yeah, I'm very excited. So I'm excited to talk about that on Sidequest.
Not to put him on the spot, has David got 3rd every time?
He has, but
what's Dave? What's he doing wrong? What is if you had 2 or 3 tips for him, what would it be?
So I think we talked about this a little bit, which is a good thing. There's sometimes the game will give you certain goals and you can't ignore them. He's a guy that doesn't like to ignore them, but it can really hamper his roster. He tunnel visions and he knows this, but I think he kind of does this as the wild card. He actively, other than the very first stream, he said he played it for like a week, tried it out, but then after that, he doesn't play GM mode at all. So he's going in there and just like on the fly.
He's pure vibes.
He is pure vibes, yeah, which is kind of good because it adds a little monkey wrench. And there has been times that he's never got 1 to 2, but he got like a little close because what we were doing on the special events, like the PLE, David was always having good shows. So like he would be behind like 200K, but then he'd like jump up like 100K because he like one really good show.
Yeah.
Then the weeks throughout were really bad and he dropped back down. But it was always this thing like, you never know. Maybe that's why we call him Mr. PLE, because like he would always, the big show, he would always deliver. But so yeah, I think he's a little television, and I'm not sure he's going to practice or not, because I think he's like as supposed to, like he plays the wrestling mode more than me. I think he plays other games too. So like I know him and Brent do Call of Duty and stuff. So I think it's a thing of if he's playing the game primarily it's that, but even then now he's gonna have more experience going this season, right? So if this is his experience, that's what's happening. So yeah, third right now, so we'll have to see, but I'll happy keep them there, you know. So 3-0 Dylan, I gotta keep it going now. I wanted to finish the whole season because now there's like now if I lose it's a big deal. 2-0, you know, that's fine. He was 3-0 now. Now I can I can bug Kirkland, I can bug S-Bubs, and S-Bubs, he was confident, he thought he was gonna get me. I won't lie, the 2 other seasons, I was like, I got this. There was a moment I thought I might lose this. For 2 weeks in the 10-week stretch we had, I was like, I don't know, this isn't going my way. Because some of it is like Mario Party where it's randomly generated. And 2 things did not go my way. Like, because it's just like, oh, it's going to pick who wins, me or S-Bubs in this match. And S-Bubs won them both twice. And it gave him some good power cards. I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to. And there's a point, Dylan, where the last show we booked, I did not have enough money to fill the card. And I'm a no money guy that likes to save his money, but I suppose was hitting me hard, so I had to spend a lot of extra money to catch up and make some moves. So I was a couple times on the ropes. I was feeling it, but
are the boys like 2v1ing you? Like, are they both just spamming all the debuffs at you, or is it pretty equitable?
No, I think me and Estos are throwing at each other, and David, same thing. Vibes. There's sometimes where he'll just hit you with it, and it'll not make any sense. He'll just like, I'm gonna throw it on you. I don't know if we did something to or anything like that, but not a 2v1 yet. I wonder if it's gonna get to that situation. We'll see. I hope not, but you know, there can only be one winner, so they still have to decide between each other. So
that's true. Yeah, very exciting. You said it comes out March 5th, was it?
March 6th, yeah. Okay. So we're gonna
the week after RE.
Yeah. So it's good timing. I can finish. I'm definitely gonna finish the main campaign of that. My plan is that weekend for our Requiem just to like play that the whole weekend. Yeah. Even at one point we were talking about doing some filming that weekend. I'm like, no, Kirkland, that's not happening. I gotta finish this game, especially with Leon, and now that all this build up we've done to it, it's like, okay, what's the story gonna be? So yeah, it's a good thing of that, and then there is at least 2-week buffer if I do get Crimson Desert. Obviously, that's gonna be legitimately based on the reviews. That's where that's all it comes down to. So. But yeah, March is a very busy and fun, and then Replace is finally coming out.
True. Yeah.
So March is my month this time, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's take our last break, and then we'll get talking about some more Resident Evil. We'll be Resident Evil. Okay, we are back. So yeah, Resident Evil, of course, Requiem is right around the corner, as we were just hinting to. For anyone who's been an avid listener of Sidequest recently, you've known that I've been going on my Resident Evil journey, kind of getting back in the series with 8, and then going back playing remakes of 2, 3, 4, playing a couple of the other ones like Code Veronica, trying like Resident Evil 0, things like that. Finally jumped into Resident Evil 6 in the last few weeks, and that's perfectly timed up with Travis, who's also in the last month been going ham on Resident Evil. Finally played 8 and then did the remakes of 2, 3, 4 as well. So much quicker timeline, but similar journey for both of us there. Obviously, you played the series back in the day more than I did. But yeah, here we meet in the middle somehow with Resident Evil 6. Yeah. 'Cause I think both of us were like, I kind of want to see what this game's all about before 8 comes out, especially with, or I guess 9, I should say, especially with Leon being in the game now, right? Just what are we missing from this guy's storyline? You know, from the games that we have or haven't played here. So yeah, this is an interesting game for anyone who didn't play this game or forgets. Interesting structure, very different from the rest of the series. You know, a lot of these series, even back down to like the original game, is like, hey, pick your character and you go on like this route. And sometimes those routes are pretty much the exact same thing with like maybe 10% difference. Sometimes they are quite different. But the way Resident Evil 6 works is it opens with like a prologue sequence, which is kind of like a tutorial where you're with Leon and Helena, right, is her name?
Helena, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think people say it differently throughout the game.
Yeah.
Like even Leon, he says Helena, and like he said at one point, sounds like the H is silent. It was odd, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you go through the sequence. It's maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes long, something like that. And then you've kind of done the prologue of the game, the intro to the game, and now you're kind of opened up way wider than any other Resident Evil has before. Not in the sense of an open world, but you're given 4 choices of campaigns. So you can do a Leon and Helena campaign. You can do the Ada Wong campaign. You can do Chris and someone else, and then you can do
Jake Muller.
Sorry, Chris and Jake. Is that what it is, or is Jake the other?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, Jake's the other guy. Sorry, yeah,
Jake
sorry.
and Sherry, right? Is
yeah,
like
Jake
the
and
other,
Sherry. Yeah,
the other combo there. So obviously, yeah, you have a couple. Well, mostly Resident Evil mainstays, and then I guess Jake's a new guy, or is he from another game?
He's a new guy, but he's related to a big character.
Got it.
So that's his tie. Yeah, he's like kind of that Skywalker thing where, oh, you know this guy, right? Like his last name's this.
His first time playable would be here?
I assume so, yeah. Okay. I don't recall. Yeah, because I think 5 is just the brother and sister, so.
Yeah, so compared to other Resident Evils, like way more, like most of the Resident Evils, you have 2 choices, which character you want to play, and some of them, like I said, don't change anything at all. But this game is much more open in that way. There's 4 separate campaigns. I've complete 2 of these now. I've complete the Leon campaign and the Ada campaign.
Nice.
And there was maybe 10, 15 minutes that were similar between them. So like compared to other Resident Evils, way different routes here, right? You're not doing the same thing with a different character, and their quips. Like it is like a fully new campaign. It seems like, I mean, with how little I've crossovered with Chris and Jake and stuff like their campaigns, I assume that those campaigns are also kind of just as distinct as Leon and Ada's. So yeah, structurally very different, and you can play those campaigns in any order. And they kind of, oftentimes the characters will intertwine with each other in the story, and you might team up to do a boss fight and then go your separate ways again. Pun intended there on the DLC for Resident Evil 4. So yeah, really interesting structure to it. But wow, what a crazy game, a big game. Probably the if you do all campaigns, probably the longest Resident Evil that exists. Travis, we've been kind of hinting at each other, talking the last few days, but a interesting game. Let me know what you think about Resident Evil 6 now that you've completed just a Leon campaign.
Just the Leon one, yeah. I plan to at least do Ada before, because we'll talk about it in rankings and predictions. I'm curious to see.
I've heard that Jake's is the most fun.
Really? Okay, that's fascinating. But yeah, I definitely want to play Ada's because we'll tell them predictions. We're gonna see her at 9. We're not gonna see her. I feel like each game she's dead. She pops the third act. Like, I'll catch you next time, Leon, and I'm ready for that happening at 9. Honestly, Dylan, we could probably do a 3-hour cast on this game, and I've only played the Leon section. I think we at least at some point we'll talk about this in another What You've Been Playing, because I have so much to say about it, so I'm gonna do my truncated. Like, it's still going depth, but truncated, because like I said, I could go on for miles with this game. It's so odd. It's like I said in the newscast. It feels like whatever they said, like, what if we did this, and they just went yes to everything. It definitely feels like the same way. And I'm dealing with a couple points, so I'm repeating for him. But I remember with Hideo Kojima and Death Stranding, with Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, obviously all the games have some weird stuff going on, but that one felt the most weird, where it's like, at times, is this even a Metal Gear game anymore, or does he really want to do something else? And then Death Stranding came out, it's like, oh, he was really done with doing Snake, like he was over this, and that's where this feels like and I meant to look at the director and how many they had done in the past, but just felt like them as a team or whatever was like, we've done all these games. Like you said, there's Code Veronica, there's like Resident Evil Chronicles, which I don't even know what that is. Like, there's all these games that I think probably played pretty similar. And 5 I've never played, so I'm gonna maybe eventually get there. But this just felt like such a huge departure. At the same point, it also feels like a departure of someone that does not like Resident Evil. That I like. There's 2 ways. I think there's a door where you look at like, we want to revolutionize, or there's a door where it's like, I hate making these games. Can we please do something else? Like, it does not feel like Resident Evil at all, and it does. Like, it does in spirit as far as the aesthetic. You get the cheesy one-liners, some dynamics of zombies, but as far as the play style, even just picking stuff up, how you hold guns, how you make your health, like, it's all changed and different and all out there from what I remember. And it's wild. It definitely feels like somebody watched a bunch of Mission Impossibles as well. It's like, let's do that. Cause like, it's not even big scale. It's the biggest scale. This is like Infinity War Endgame. Like, you're going to multiple countries. You're having boss battles on a plane, on a train. Like it's the kitchen sink. So I'm so confused, because by the pure concept of it, I kind of hate it. And I understand too, because I've said this before, 2012, I did not ever buy this game because if you can go back to that episode when I talked about Res 2 to Res 4 as like just getting the games, and I really like Veronica as well. Even 4 for me back in the day was like, oh, we're getting really actiony, right? When I played it nowadays, I was like, you know what? I think it's the perfect balance of the horror and that. Where to me, that was 4 was a big game. People loved it, and they definitely think, oh, we need to go more of that, like bigger locations, more gun toting. I talked about how from in 2, it takes a while to get a gun, and then 4, it's like, here's a gun with 12 bullets. You start this game with a gun, a machine gun, a knife. Like, you got to earn them back, but still, the first mission is literally like you have every single game that's ever been in Resident Evil, or you have every single weapon. Here you go. So I can see why now, especially me in 2012, because I remember the only time I played this was some co-op with my friend Jeff, because he got it. And I remember when I played, I was like, yeah, this solidified my thoughts. Like, this was a jumping the shark moment for me. And I think I understand that back then, because at that point, you're getting only so few games. It's not like now where I just did 2, 3, 4, and this. It's like, okay, I can consume them all. It's like back in the day, this is my comparison, where when Spider-Man 3 came out, that was looked upon as like, oh, this is one of the worst comic movies of all time. Now, you compare it to so much stuff we've gone, it's like nowhere near the worst, right? So I think I can see why at the time, people, and including myself, I checked out of the franchise, didn't give 7 a chance for a while. But now playing this, there's some aspects of it I kind of love. I just love that they just went for it. Like I love how crazy they went. There is some really bad stuff in here, visually, gameplay, and dated wise. The fact that this game came out in 2012 does not. This feels like an odds game. Some of the stuff these characters are saying, they're doing. The fact you're fighting a naked boss battle, it's like, ugh, like she's just like
that boss.
Yeah, the Leon. Yeah, she's just literally having like, it feels like orgasms while she's fighting. Like, I was like, this is 2012. Like 2012 felt like we were starting to get more progressive. This feels way more dated than that. So I kind of like hate some stuff in concept, but I almost just applaud them for, man, you guys went for it. And now I thought I was just going to do Leon and Ada and be like, hey, I like these characters the most. And I don't know if I'll even touch the other ones. I'm so curious to play the other one. So now I am going to play this whole game through. I don't know if I'll have time to beat it before the next one, but like I was kind of hooked. There's some stuff that, again, I still, if you're going to ask me, I prefer Resident Evil 2. That your one location, very low on ammo, very claustrophobic. I don't love your. I'll wait. There's some other stuff. I don't love the big locations, but no, I for how mad it is, it's just. It kind of impressed me. So it's funny because these past few weeks I've seen people like the Resident 6 like truthers come up and be like, I was a big fan back in the day and I stand by. It's like, you know what? I can kind of see why, but I also see why with 7 they put it back in a house with a few monsters, because I think all of them realized they probably went too far. It's like a Thor Ragnarok to Love and Thunder. It's like Love and Thunder, you went over the line, and but there's some stuff that I loved about it. So where were you on this?
Yeah, I mean, it is fun to kind of, in hindsight, look back at this series. And now that I've played like almost every game, at least in the mainline games, there's, as you mentioned, like all sorts of spin-offs and multiplayer games and things like that. But yeah, like it's starting with like survival horror and starting in like a creepy mansion, and then we go to like a creepy police station, and we're like in a city that's burning down, and then we go to like a crazy island with castles and all this stuff in Resident Evil 4, and then 5 go. I think it's like in Africa or something.
South Africa, yeah.
There's a way different setting, and then this game, which just feels like it's like a globe-trotting adventure, and it truly does feel like, because Resident Evil 5 I think was an extremely successful game when it came out, like in terms of sales. I think it was a very, I don't know, like I think hardcore fans of the series were like, oh, I don't like this as much as it's not really my Resident Evil, but like it came out in the peak 360 era where people wanted co-op shooter games, and I played it back in the day and I loved it. It was perfect. It was the exact kind of game I wanted to play with my cousin and my friends and stuff like that. And then it feels like they took that and they're like, oh, you guys like the co-op like gunplay of this? Well, we're gonna give you a whole game of this. We're gonna give you 4 different campaigns, and each one is like unique, and the way you can play it in like multiplayer with your friends, you can do like multiplayer online, and there's all these different settings and stuff. It is, and we're gonna throw like a skill tree kind of thing in here.
Oh my god, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff, and it's extremely messy, and there's a lot of stuff that it's pretty weak. Like again, I mean, I think the series has always not had really good puzzles, and I think the puzzles are like worse than they've ever been in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shine a light on like a metal thing. It's like light the candle. All you're doing is just gun. It's like it's very lazy, very lazy. At least 2 and 4 had a couple like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is just nothing,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I think the actual like gameplay combat of it is fine. I feel like there isn't really good, like very good reactions to your attacks. Like it doesn't, they don't feel like the gameplay doesn't feel good in that way. But I think it like as a third-person shooter, it feels pretty good. Just running around, gunning and stuff like that. Setting bombs down on the ground. I like doing that. The homing, or not the homing bomb, but like the
remote bomb.
Yeah, the remote bomb is a really fun thing to kind of.
They're powerful too.
Yeah. So it's a crazy game, and yeah, I totally agree with you. Where like in a large part, it does not feel like a Resident Evil game. I think it's but truly like what I really wanted from 2 and 3 was like when I played 2 again on my second playthrough, and I played Leon, I was like so excited, like man, I can't wait to see how these stories intertwine. And then it was like, oh, this is just the same game. It's the exact same game, but it's just like now Leon's doing the story, but I'm supposed to believe that like Claire came through here, I guess, already. And
well,
like,
especially
all the doors got locked again. Like it never really made sense to me, and I was really excited for the idea of these multiple routes. And like this game is that. It is finally that fulfillment, because 5 is not that. It is a co-op game. You can pick your character, but you're not getting like different routes. In Resident Evil 4, like at least with the DLC that they did for the remake version, like that's a different route, but it is like a smaller thing. It's like a little 2-hour like campaign you get with Ada there, but that's really great. But this game's like going all in on that idea, and it's so fun to, especially when I played Ada. I don't think I even encountered Chris. I don't think I saw him once. Now that I think about it, but then when I played the Leon campaign second, I bumped into Chris like once. I'm like, now I'm really curious where he was right before this, and where he goes after this, and where is he in that final city sequence? Where does he end up? And then like I have bumped into Sherry and Jake a couple of times throughout, and so I'm like, I'm curious to see like what they did on the in between. But then also like the story is nonsensical, and it's really hard to follow. The pacing naturally kind of sucks, right? Like the game lets you pick any campaign, which is great, but also like I don't think Ada is the one you should play first. Like that did not feel like you immediately start that campaign, and like all of them kind of start like this. Like it's very slow for like a half an hour, which is not very long, and then it goes bonkers because it's like, oh, you could have played 15 hours of this game already. We need to put like a ton of enemies in here and ratchet up. I don't know if they like read your save and be like, oh, you've done 2 campaigns, we're going to put more enemies here, but it kind of feels like either one is insane. The amount of enemies, the craziness that you got to deal with, like how quickly you're getting weapons, because a 5-hour campaign's not super long, so you got to give like an entire game's worth of getting all the weapons, building up your character, getting more powerful in that time. But then you go to the next campaign and you start that again. The only thing you carry over is like the skills that you've bought with your previous characters, but those are like you reload faster, you can carry more ammo. They're not that exciting.
Which at least appreciate. That's their like new game plus, where it's like, because there were a couple things where it's
better
like
than nothing, but like still, it really does come down to like, oh yeah, I'm Leon, and now I only have a pistol again for the first bit, and then you get your shotgun, and then you get your assault rifle, right?
Yeah, it's not like Res 4 where you play as Leon again, then you have all your guns and everything with the new game plus, you go right into it, right? And no, I really appreciate that, because you told me about that with the Res 2 remake, and then I played it, and the Claire one, like even when you're doing like the medallions, it's like, why would she also be doing this if Leon, like that's where this one is complete. Like that's where it reminded me of an Infinity War, where it's like all these characters kind of crossing over, but there's different locations they intertwine. And I have to say, like I don't know what it was back then. I'm just gonna say $60, but I feel like maybe people, obviously I feel like there was a disappointment with this game to some levels, but I feel like for money wise, you can't argue you're not getting your money's worth, because I just feel like I even felt like I finally got it on the PlayStation Premium, which I'll talk about, because I guess I'll actually just talk about now before you forget. Streaming and the QuickTime events, man, did that suck sometimes, because is that the same way with you with a downloaded version?
No, it was just a reminder of like, oh yeah, this game has so many QuickTime events.
Yeah,
like this was the era of QuickTime.
It's such. I had that in my notes. Era of QuickTime. It's literally like God of War did. And I was like, look, you can do and Uncharted, right? It's like, look, let's put these in games.
I think I mentioned this to you at one point, like this game is so Xbox 360 in like all the best and the
Absolutely.
worst ways, but like definitely with the
Yes.
quick time events, that is like, man, I wonder when this was. Was this when we were already sick of QuickTime events, or was this when QuickTime events were still cool? Like, I think it was a little bit past when they were cool. If I had to kind of zoom back in time, I can't quite
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, because I feel like they started in like the mid aughts, right? So this is like 2012. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably when we're starting to get over them. But no, I've said this many times in the cast. I already said this, Dylan. I take back anytime I said this. I used to be like, man, video games are great. Like if they look prettier, that's all I need. But like I'm fine with the way they were. When I played this game, and it's not like an awful game, but I was like, you know what? Even in just 14 years, we've advanced so much. And I was like, I take that all back. I take everything back that I said about like, I'm fine with games, or we don't need to advance. So it's like, no, this shows like from playing 2, 3, and 4, the remakes to this, it's like, man, this is tough. But no, I felt like even in the 5 hour portion, I got like my fill of the game. I felt like, oh man, I felt fulfilled of everything going on, because like at the end, there's some crazy. Resident Evil always has crazy sequences, but there even just the Leon one, I was like, there's a game's worth of sequences just in this story. So it's like this is going to happen in all these other ones. I'm very excited to see what happens and where we go. And like you said, the amount of zombies, there's times where I think you described it, and I think I agree with you, and even people said this before, where it's definitely like arcadey. It at times feels like when you're at Scandia and you go in that room and it's just like you're shooting them. And I do love it at one point where it's near the end when you're trying to get to like the rooftop in the helicopter, and like there's a door that's locked and it's just a hallway and it's just dozens of zombies and they're just coming. And I love it because like at this point I have so much ammo, where in other Resident games you don't, right? It's like, okay, I got 10 bullets. I got to conserve this thing. This is like, nah, go crazy. You got a clip of 160, just go ham. And there's something I did really enjoy about that. I think that's why I can enjoy this game now more, because it's like, well, we have 7 and 8 and even 9 that look like it's more aching back that. But when it was 5 and 6, like, oh, this is what I don't want Res to be this, you know? So it's like, I can now, with some time back, reappreciate it. And I just want to ask, so now, like, obviously we've heard that Veronica's happening. Would you play a remake of this if they ever got to it? Like, was there enough juice where it's like, okay, now with like the 4 and 2 aesthetic, if they did that here, could you? Because I feel like there's some stuff you could really find to make great. Or do you think now that you've played here, you're like good and you've had like your fill for, you know, a couple decades?
I feel like, and I do. I want to be clear. Like I like this game. I've had fun playing it. I don't think it's
Yeah.
a great game, but you know, I like it enough. But I feel like you can't polish a turd. I don't know what you could do with a remake here that would make this a great game. You know, like I don't think it looking better or having slightly better mechanics would make it a great game that people want to look back on fondly. So
Yeah.
I don't think I would, because honestly it plays well. Like the gameplay of it, like I wonder if they would take out a lot of these QuickTime events if they remade it. But I don't know. I think the gameplay is, like, plays well enough. I think, you know, for me a big thing with like those earlier games is I hate fixed camera angles. I did not grow up with it. That fixed camera angles and like tank controls, it's
God.
so foreign to me that it just like it's really hard for me to get into some of those older games. Like when I
Yeah.
tried Code Veronica or when I tried Zero. I've since beating or finishing 2 campaigns of 6, I've started Resident Evil 1, like the original one. So
Oh, have you?
don't-
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
see
that's a
how much
lot
I
of
can get
fixed.
into this.
Yeah.
But again, fixed camera, even with the 2019 remake or whatever this one is, you know, still fixed camera
It's
angles,
still fixed, yeah.
tank controls. Like it's just so clunky and awkward, and like those are the kind of things I need a remake to fix. I don't know what a remake would fix with this, and like yeah, like the visuals aren't great by any means, so that it could look better. But I think this would be an uphill battle, whereas I think the other games are more straightforward too. I mean, I guess maybe on the flip side of this, like this is a very linear game, especially compared to any other. I feel like every Resident Evil has some part, whether it's Resident Evil's 2's, PlayStation, Resident Evil 1 in the big mansion that you start in, 4 with some of these sequences are like pretty large. You know, Village is kind of like one larger interconnected world. Even 7 when you're in the house, but it feels like you kind of have to go back and forth, sneak around. This is like,
Yeah.
you go to point A, point B. You do not backtrack at all. The only backtracking I guess you do is like in another campaign. Maybe you're revisiting a certain area again. But like, I guess in that sense, it would be, they could remake it and really just, it would maybe be quicker in that sense because you don't have to think about what these areas are like with all this new gameplay to it. Like it's you know, at the largest areas are when you're just like fighting a boss and you're in one area for a long time. But for the most part, it's like maybe the most linear Resident Evil. Would you agree with that?
I think so. From what I would recall out of the series, yeah. Like I think, because even like even 8, like it's you can go other places. I feel like you still gotta hit like the certain places in a row, like the bosses. But even then, around the
Yeah.
village, you can kind of explore a little bit. But I think for obviously not playing 5 in a good minute, I would say as of
Mm-hmm.
now, from what I've played, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I that's one thing I love about this game. Like, with 4 campaigns, each one is 5 missions. Each mission is like about an hour, give or
Yeah.
take 20 minutes. It's like the fact that this game is broken down into 20 like 1 hour long chunks. Like, it's very consistent. Like
Hmm.
when I sit down to play Resident Evil 6, I'm like, I have 1 hour. I want to complete one chapter, and I'm good for the night. Like it is exactly that. Like I know I get exactly what I wanted out of it every single time I've played it so far. So I don't think I'm gonna play the other campaigns right now
Mm.
because like I said, I'm jumping into one right now, and then I probably want like a little bit of a break before Requiem comes out.
Yeah.
Just give myself a little bit of a breather. But just like I've had my fix of this now, and it is a fun one to like come back though in the future. But yeah, there's still 2 campaigns I haven't even checked out, so I'm gonna get something new there. Explore these characters. I don't really know these characters. Like that's why I did Leon and Ada's, because I like those characters already. I wanted to see what's going on in their world, and those campaigns definitely had some more interconnectedness than I think the other ones will. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I've enjoyed what I've played here. I guess one thing that is very much stood out to me, and it is a disappointment, but to what your point earlier of like, I love that this series has different flavors to it, and not all those flavors are great. But even if you ask me now, like, what is my dream Resident Evil game? I would really struggle to come up with that, because they all do interesting things. Like this
Hmm.
game, 6, is the best use of like routes and multiple characters, in my opinion, of the whole series. But it's not like the most interesting level design. It doesn't have like the best villains. Definitely doesn't have the best villains or characters. Doesn't have the best voice acting. And I think one thing it is probably the worst, at least in the series that I've played so far, is like this has zero horror or scary vibes to it.
No,
Like obviously
yeah.
there's zombies and it's dark and stuff, but maybe there was one jump scare that got me or something. But I have not had like any of that survival horror, the heart pumping dread that I've got in every other game in the series at some point.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the more shoot 'em up type of style.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree there. And like I said, it's fun to have it now. I think my perfect is somewhere like it's a combination of 2 and 4. Somewhere there, like even 4, I would add a little bit more horror as far as like close counters. But maybe with this one, it wouldn't be a remake per se. But maybe if you could do a remaster where maybe you like, or maybe like an in between where it's like clean up some of the gameplay or some of the movie, because some of the stuff is really jerky when you're moving around. Like it still feels like there's stuff about the game that still feels dated. So the only reason I say that is because like I remember doing a little bit, but now have more appreciation for it. I would love to do this, and I guess it could always still find. I think there's still. I wonder if the local co-op works on my. It must still work, right? I guess on the PS Premium, because I don't know, but I would love to fire this up during a stream once and play it. As
It
far
would
as
be
like,
fun, yeah.
yeah, that's one thing I got. Like, man, like in the situation where it came out, that's when I had just graduated the year before. I was working, so I also didn't have a lifestyle. But I imagine there's tons of kids and whatnot in middle school or high school had tons of fun. Like the same way when I played Gears with my friends. Like
Yeah.
I always think like, oh, this would be a good time. So that's my only thing is like I would like that to happen. So that's where I'd like a newer version just so it would play better. So I could play it with you or somebody where it actually feels like, oh, this doesn't feel so old and dated. Because I think that could be tons of fun. I did play with a rando one night on the very first mission. I accidentally kept the PlayStation Network thing on, but I thought, oh, there's no one's gonna join, right? Like who's playing this in the middle of the afternoon? And lo and behold, someone played, and there was Helena, and we did a thing. And that's what I will say for the PS Premium, the saves suck because you have to wait for an actual save point. You can't do just the checkpoint. It has to be a save point, because if not, twice it happened to me where I thought it saved and I had to go all the way back. One, I had to play the prologue over again because I didn't know that. And then 2, I died. And then when I came back alive, though, it had the saving icon. So I thought, oh, I must have saved. No, it didn't. So I think it was chapter 3 that I almost had to pay like an entire half all over again. And it was that brought me down. So I forgot to say that the streaming was pretty good. I'll say that from a few of the clips I've seen, I definitely think the premium makes this game look a little more uglier than it actually is. I don't think it's a good looking game, but I still think that hurts it. And yeah, sometimes the quick time events, those were a struggle on the streaming as far as like there was like I had to time, okay, there's a 0.5 delay here coming up. So it's not like
Yeah.
because there's premium games where you can download them, so it's almost like you own them. This is like you can only stream Res 6. You can't like download it. It's always streaming.
Got it,
So that's something that the QuickTime event that I did not love. So yeah.
Yeah, a couple other things I enjoy about this. The variety of locations. I mean, like I said, I think this game just has total whiplash, and the pacing kind of sucks. And I never really understood why I was in like a totally new location. Like, I don't know what the F's going on in this game. I'd have to watch like a
It's like
YouTube
Raccoon City
recap of someone who's played all 4 campaigns and can like stitch them together. That would be fun. I do want to see what that is like. But even after playing 2 campaigns, like, I don't know what the F's going on in this game. But I do like the variety of locations. Like, we're in different places in the world, locations we haven't seen before. I'm so used to and sick of every Resident Evil game like ending in like a secret science lab underground.
Oh yeah.
Because so many of them do that, but this one does not do that. It goes different. And I mentioned to you like Leon, chapter 3 of Leon's campaign. I think it's chapter 3. You're in like an underground, not an underground secret science base, an underground like catacombs, which is exactly like any Skyrim dungeon where there's just giant, massive coffins everywhere and zombies popping out. I'm like, these can't even be like things infected with the same virus that is affecting like the people in the overworld. We're just in like full-on mystical high fantasy territory at this point.
Like the cathedral too, like the church. It's like, how's this tying in? It's a virus, and this is stuff that's been here for like. Even then, why are these puzzles here? Why are these statues like that? Doesn't make any sense.
No sense.
No.
But I kind of loved how cheesy and hammed up it was, and I loved that catacomb sequence. It was really fun gameplay wise. I actually liked like some of the puzzles traversal stuff going on down there, and it was just weird. I'm like, man. In all the Resident Evils I've played and all the different locations we've been to, I've never seen a location like this before in one of these games. And yeah, it kind of like breaks the world of like, man, what is even possible in this world anymore? It's crazy. But I did really enjoy that one. Other than like the water sequence at the end of that level, didn't need that. That was not my favorite. But the rest of that level I really enjoyed. And you get some other crazy sequences too. Like Ada, the first chapter in Ada's campaign is wild. And like the enemies you're fighting are just insane. I feel like this game does have really good enemy variety, and it seems like they have exclusive enemies that you'll only see in like certain campaigns. So it's not just like, oh yeah, here's the basic zombie, and then here's zombie with an axe, and then here's the big zombie. Like, not every campaign follows that same structure. Some of them will have different boss fights than other ones. Some of them do have the same boss fights, but there's even boss fights where you're getting like different perspectives. One giant monster jumping around different rooftops. He's jumping back, fighting Ada for a bit, jumping back, fighting Leon for a bit, and then like truly to do those fights from the 2 different perspectives, like that was really cool. At one point, you're like sniping this monster off the building as Ada to give Leon some space, and then when I played Leon's campaign, and I'm just trying to frantically climb up this rope while I know
which
Ada's
went on
shooting,
for a long time.
Because I already did that. Like I really like that element of it. So there is a lot of fun to be had in some of those sequences.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to get there. I'm excited for the sequence of you alluded to earlier when it's like almost every character in the game you're fighting like that big insert guy that kind of looks like what's the guy from 3 who's not Mr. X, who's the other guy? Nemesis. Like it's almost like a version of that where he's like a big dude with a big claw, and it's just the 4 or 5 of you're just taking turns. He's kidnapping people, putting them back, and you're shooting them down. Like, oh, this is really fun. So yeah, I think like you said earlier, they nailed that perspective versus what they did in 2 there. So I think I don't know, and that's what's gonna be curious too. We're gonna see how they do that. It's a very mini version, but Res 9 has that, right? It's Ashley and Leon, so it is like a double header, and I think we've heard that this one's more going back and forth. But it's funny that this series is. I doubt they like, cause what the first one's Jill Valentine, and then like it's Leon, and then it's Claire, but it's just like, no, with 3 it's Jill Valentine again. It's like I don't think they ever. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they were always like from day one, like we want to make this a franchise that's like known for switching between multiple characters, but that has become a massive staple of this. Like even in 8, you only do it once, but you do this thing when you switch to Chris. You're like, oh, this is a big moment, right? Yeah. So it's funny how that's kind of like. Just subtly become like, oh, this is a pillar. Like if you talk about the 4 pillars of Resident Evil, that's probably one of them is multiple characters and you playing multiple stories, and some work better than others. But yeah, so
I liked the UI in this game. Like I think I love like just the basic Resident Evil 4 inventory system. The grid. Some things are big. I like that stuff. I've always liked that inventory system, and I think especially going back to Resident Evil 0 and 1 now, like the inventory systems in those games so rough. Like you have so little space, and it's not like fun to organize it. It's just annoying, and you have to always drop stuff that you want. I feel like the later games like really perfected that. I like the UI in this game. It's like contextualized with like a holographic like device that you have. It's very sci-fi. It's very over the top, but like it'll pull up your inventory in like a almost like a Tony Stark way. How
I was
going
gonna say it's Stark Tech for sure. Yeah. I hated it. I hated it. I could not stand because I'm with you. I love the old school,
but I don't actually like navigating it. And like when you pause, like the pause menu, it was really hard to find things in there.
This definitely was like iPhones are getting really hot. Like cell phones have changed, and this is what they're like. Yeah, I hate that. That stuff that felt so like anti-Resident Evil, where it's like Leon's got this, even to the point of like all the boxes in Resident Evil, they're always like that brown box with like the yellow team. They're like, we're gonna make them red and we're gonna make them long. It just felt like little stuff like we're gonna change the HUD, we're gonna change this, which again could have maybe worked out. I feel like at the time it didn't, and you look back at the games now, they've gone back to that. Okay, like the layout of the gear, the boxes, even in 8 are back to with the yellow stripes. Like they definitely went back to that type of stuff. But it's such a I feel like this game, like you said, it's some games of that era just like, okay, it's a game that came out. This definitely feel like it is a slice of the time. You can put like if you were alive, you can go, oh yeah, this is the Xbox 360 PS3 era. Yeah. Again, some stuff is even more dated than I thought, but but that HUD with that cell phone to me was like, oh, this feels like early aughts of like, oh, everyone's got a smartphone now, and this is what it looks like, you know. So
yeah, I mean, I think. It's funny playing like this series in such a strange order, but it's like, man, this game makes perfect sense as the game before the reset of Resident Evil 7.
Yes.
Yes. Like just as you mentioned, like everything, the kitchen sink, and then just like, we kind of went too crazy. Let's like dial it back. Let's chop this series up. Let's reevaluate it from the ground up and see what we want to make with it. And I think we've seen that now with like a really nice 1-2 punch of 7 and 8, like really distinctly a new era of the series, and we'll see where Requiem falls in with that, because it feels like a lot of old with some of the new. So we'll see how that delivers in the end.
But that's where it's interesting, where, like you said before, I feel like with 2 and 4, even 4, you start to stretch because they go to a whole different island, and that doesn't even have anything to do with Raccoon City, right? It's just like another, like, Leon just becomes 007, but supernatural guy, right? Where he's like, he's going to an island or a place and it's infected. But you're like, okay, maybe. And even with 7, they somehow, like, tie it to Umbrella, like, oh, it's a shipment here. So, like, okay. But now with everything, especially playing this game in full and seeing what Leon went through, it's like, I wonder how even just that contextualizes in 9, because this is a guy, like, I guess, you know what, it's going to be similar. It's not just because it's one of my favorite movies, but it feels like it's going to maybe, I hope in a successful way, be kind of like how the X-Men movies were to Logan, where Wolverine went on this massive journey on time travel and all this stuff. But when Logan came back, it was very, like, small, and all that stuff was stripped away, and it's just him. And that's where it's just like, does it feel weird of just putting Leon back in, oh, he's in a warehouse fighting some guys? Like, this guy, when he fights Simmons at the end, he's backflipping, he's doing the grenade. It's like, this guy can't be taken down by
suplexing grandmas.
Yeah, he can't be taken down by any mere zombie now, right? So that's why I'm excited to see that balance. I know people have that theory of maybe he's sick, maybe he's older, I don't know, but I am excited. Okay, how do you can strip the series back down, but now as Leon as a character, like even the stuff with like, and I have it in my, I have some notes I want to say before we end this. I have other notes for the other games, but I'm going to say that for the ranking. I told Dylan that I completely forgot, but I have like all the number games, but that's something where like even with Ada, like in Resident Evil 2, when you meet her, they like fall in love by just like meeting a couple times, and it's so cheesy and over the top, where I feel like 7 and 8 weren't trying to be exactly that type of cheese. So same thing, if we're playing as Leon and Ada pops up, does that type of very like James Bond girl dynamic work now? Like even 2012, it feels a little dated at times with some of their one-liners, and it just feels very over the top. So I'm curious to see Leon now in this era of stuff and what they do with them. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. One thing, I think my last point here was just, and I don't have much to say about this intentionally. So is just like the skills. Like it's so strange. It does feel very arcadey in that way, of like just slowly accruing that score and you're going back. But honestly, after like 3 or 4 levels, like I just stopped looking at the skills. I'm like, none of this is exciting. I don't really care about any of this. And the ones that do seem kind of interesting are like such an extremely high number of skill points required to actually buy it.
Keep playing
like,
over.
I'm not even going to look at this for like 6 hours because I'm not going to be able to afford it till then. So it's weird, and it's like, is there another game that has this skill system in the series? I can't really recall. I feel like this was like just one last thing they felt to add. Maybe they added this because there's so many campaigns and they just wanted more connectivity of like feeling that sort of progression. That's probably why they did it. And so I guess in hindsight, it kind of serves its purpose. And I think if you are someone who's like playing through all these campaigns, doing them over and over again, going online, doing all that stuff, I'm sure like there are some good rewards there because there's a bunch that I'm seeing as like just locked. I don't even have them. Can't even see what they are yet. So I'm sure there's a bunch of cool things you can get once you've like beat all these campaigns. But I don't know. I guess I'm not in a point in my life where I'm going to obsess over this one game over and over again. I mean, Resident Evil, like I'll do a second playthrough on Resident Evil 2, and then I'm good to go. Like I'm not going to play these games over and over again like some people do.
Yeah. I think with that, unless like I definitely don't think it was any of them unless it's in 5, because again, 5 was one I played a long time ago and I can't recall it. I feel like just similar to like when we started the podcast and you're the first one to bring this to my attention, where it's like every game needed a skill tree. I feel like this was that in that era of like, well, every game has like you're updating your stats now, so I agree with you that it is like the play through multiple characters, but it also still feels like, well, every game does this now of like make this hammer stronger, make this stronger, make this gun stronger, right? So it just feels like another like, oh, this is hot right now, so let's put that in there. So I have a few notes. As one, the display route when you could like hold left trigger and it shows you like an arrow. I could have used that in Village. I was like, man, my complaints about Village and getting lost. That did help me a couple times because there were sometimes where it's like this task feels like it's not exactly clear what you've told me, and at least I can just hit an arrow. I'm like, okay, I got to go this way. That's perfect.
I needed that a lot. Like I feel like so much of this game does not have like such a distinct art style that like it's easy to see things. Like there was one point I just had to like pull a lever, but I walked by that lever 7 times before I visually saw it, and thankfully the arrow pointed me right at it.
Yeah. No, I think that was good. You sent me that meme earlier, but it's funny. So you sent me a GIF of Leon from Resident Evil 4 doing a German suplex. So when you are behind someone, you grab someone by the waist and you throw them on their head.
Yeah, like a Heimlich and then just crack their neck.
Yeah. He also does a different wrestling move in this game. He does a bulldog is what they call it. It's the move where if the zombie's facing away from you and you run, you grab their head. And when he slams them down the ground, their head pops. Yeah, that's called a running bulldog in wrestling. So I don't know. Maybe this is why.
He does a lot of crazy shit on like cement and stuff too. It's like, goddamn.
Yeah, I wonder if why this is like. I know a lot of people love Leon, but I wonder if this is why like subliminally I like Leon, because like in these games they had these wrestling moves, and I was like a wrestling fan. So I was like, when he whipped it, and that's where it's like.
Well, honestly, even in that GIF I sent you, like that brown jacket is like identical to that jacket you used to have. You have like similar haircut, so maybe you just see a lot of him in yourself.
I got the haircut recently, but I was like, oh, I should have kept it because the long hair. But Emily wouldn't have liked that long down style. But
ugly ass beard that he has in Requiem, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I should do it. I should do it for Halloween one year. That'd be a very easy one. But
you still have that jacket, that brown jacket with the white like.
I bought a new one because that one got really. We used it for adrenochrome, and it got. But it was time. But yeah, it's the Sherpa lined and the brown. Yeah, corduroy. Yeah, that's my. I'll be buried in that. What was the other thing? But yeah. Oh, and that's from the point though of like, I love these games. So that's where 6 is like from where my Resident Evil love is. No guy should be doing a bulldog on a zombie. It could just easily like go to your arm and bite you, right? Like you're grabbing it by like. Practicality, it makes no sense, but it's like, oh, let's have some fun.
You can get bitten a few times. It's just,
yeah, I guess. Yeah, you get some of these death animations. Like, man, there's the death animation. God, what was it? Oh yeah, so in the market when you got to find those 3 keys, those things that would like they're black and gray and they split their body parts and they go like that. There's some animations. One time I got killed where they threw me on the ground. It was like a 30-second death animation of pins your hand, hits your face, does it again. I was like, can we move on already? Like
sometimes I don't want the cool finishers because they're just they take so long.
Yeah, it's just that was enough. I'll say anyone that knows this, Ada's birthday, that videotape, my goodness. Yeah. When I
that's like fan service back then was like, oh man, people
you're gonna see Ada
thirsting over Ada.
Yeah, I messaged Dylan. I was like, whoa, like they always put these characters in like the cleavage and crop tops, and they're looking sexy, right? But this was a step where I was like, okay, we're going really far here. Like and then you see a lot of people when you saw Ada like that, and that also created interesting thing. It's like, has she been a monster this whole series then, or was she like reproduced? right?
I don't know what the F's going on in this game, man. I played her campaign as well. I don't know what's going on in this game.
Because it seems like she
I
was
could not tell
produced,
you at
and
this
I don't
time.
know. We'll see. When you do the plane level, which I actually like, that was fun. When that plane crashes, you take out half that city. It was crazy, and you're fine, but just the wings are taking out all these buildings. I talked about the hallway. It was crazy, but the Simmons boss battle, man, that was very much like Genesis, where it was like he kept coming back and coming back, but
Yeah.
that's to a point where this happens in Village, like I talked about. When he turned into the big bug thing, that's when I'm like, okay, this is too far for me. We've gone. He is
You didn't
literally
when he turned into a T-Rex.
like at the very end with the big eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was saying in the bug thing. Yeah, to me, when he's like literally a Godzilla, a kaiju, that's what they're called. We're getting too far. We're getting that was too much for me. And then just of course, my last note here is the last line of Leon, because Ada leaves him this thing, and of course Elena like throws it back to him like, "Oh, for when you see her next," and he just goes, "Huh, women," and then that's
Yeah, the one-liners are so trash.
and that's where it's like again like in 2000s I kind of biased. 2012, it's like really that's what the women. And it's like it was like it felt dated than it actually was. And I know these games are still made earlier, of course, but still it was crazy. But that's all my notes I have for now. So but no, I love the experience of it as a Resident Evil game. I don't know, but I think I guess that's where I am, Dylan, where I don't know if I'd ever want them to be like Resident Evil 10, 11, 12 to do another game like this. So that's where I would still like a game like this, but maybe I would like it refreshed a little. But at the same time, and we could talk about this on a future date, how do you, for Resident Evil 10, not bring back a lot of these characters? Like for 10, when you're doing 10, like how do you not bring back Leon and the Winters and Jill? Like even stuff like, we're going to do the retro, but I was talking to you, it's like the fact that Jill Valentine and Leon Kennedy have never met in a video game. How's that happen? How's that never happened?
Jill, is it just 1 and 3 or she's playable mainly?
Yeah, 1 and 3. Yeah, and then apparently she's in a lot of the anime movies we're gonna review. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. So
Because Chris has been around the block. Because he was playable in 1. He's in 5,
and then
6 here,
6, and then
and
8. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got a lot of play. Which Chris is, he's fine.
Yeah,
Big-
he's not my
Big,
favorite.
no, not my favorite either. So big jarhead type of guy. But
Yeah.
same thing, like you said, when he's like, I do want to play that mission because I want to see when he Leon picks up a call from him, and he's like, Leon, look out! And then they show just a bomb crash in the city. It's like, what was Chris going through that he knew this bomb was going to crash in the city, right? Like, and I guess you play as a mission where you fail and they launch this bomb, right? Because Chris is like the Black Ops, like very war guy. So no, I think what I'm telling myself is maybe when we get closer to. Actually, no, I think he's in I guess the mainline games, but he's in Code Veronica as well. He's the other main guy because Claire's the main character. So I don't think you play as Chris, but he's there.
Okay, the section I played, I don't think he's in it, but maybe he pops in later.
Yeah, I think he pops in later because I think they're usually together there. So I think when the Code Veronica remake comes out next year, if that is happening, I think that's when I'm going to probably go back and play some. But at the same time, I got premium until June, so I might throw up some more Resident Evil time. I guess, we'll see what happens. But I am excited. I'm actually genuinely excited to play the other stories and see what they're like. So
Yeah. Are you going to play them all before?
just Ada's. I'll play Ada's.
Ada's, okay.
Yeah, because I think there could be a chance she pops up. The other ones, I think I'll maybe sporadically play throughout because I don't know if I want to resubscribe to the premium tier.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's weird. You can't get it monthly. You have to like pay the difference for what you have left.
Yeah.
It was only $38. So you know what, that's fine. Like I can $38 for the rest of the year. I'll play this and maybe like even Resident 5. There might be another game that pops up in premium that's worth it. So that's where I probably by June we'll play some, so I don't have to subscribe again. So
I was just gonna bring this up too. Like if they did a remake for this, because I think with 3, some people were pissed because I think they like took out a section of the game.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. Like I don't remember what, but I remember people being
Yeah.
mad about it. Yeah.
Like, what if they did that with this game, where there's like, we're just doing Leon's campaign, and you get like, maybe you get 2 of the
Yeah.
campaigns or something, or they like really just chopped it up and like made it a more like core experience. Is that a remake that you would deem acceptable, or would you be like, you know what, if you're gonna do it, like do it right?
I think
Or is it like, is the game better if you like actually
I was
edit
gonna
it,
say
this game is not edited at all is like the problem.
there's a case that you could be really cheesy and you could do like Final Fantasy VII remake style where you do like a part 1 and part 2 and it's like here's the Leon edition, here's that, which also wouldn't be the worst because like let's say you don't care about Chris, like I'm not gonna buy the Chris version, right? Like imagine they sell those like $40 a pop or something.
Yeah,
but
they could do it like the Beatles biopics.
Yeah, release them all the same day,
one you want.
because it is a remake and like you said, because 6 is still there and I think it's playable enough. I actually wouldn't be mad if they're like, hey, we're just going to do Leon and Helena. We're going to maybe combine a few things, but we're going to streamline it. And even then, like even though that's what 6 was, I would love it when you pull up your phone if it was old school Resident Evil style, like the grid. I would like the boxes back. So that's where I feel like when I'm talking about, like I feel like when I'm talking about the remake,
quick time events, see you later.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like there's things about Resident Evil 6 that don't feel like Resident Evil, that some things you can't take out, but some things just with a few changes you could make it feel more like in the family. So that's why I think and keep that co-op stuff in there, but I think that would be more a safer route. Like, hey, we're just going to do Leon's story or maybe even Leon and Chris, because there are characters that are like keep popping up in these series. Like maybe you lose Jake and Ada, like depends, right? Like if she's not a 9, if she's a 9, sure, maybe, or maybe they like find a way to just put her and
she
Leon
has the DLC
together.
For 4, so she seems like a DLC kind of character.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and that's the other one too. I'm waiting for because there's rumored to be a Capcom sale in March. So if there is, I'm gonna buy that as well because I want to play the Resident Evil 4 one. So, but yeah, I'd be down with that just because it is a remake, right? It's not the same game; it's a remake. So sure, let's try it out. So
talking about Leon having various wrestling moves.
Yeah.
Would he be a good Smash Bros character, you think?
Absolutely, man. I don't put that in my mind. I would love him in Smash, especially as stage 2. It would be, I don't know where you would, he has multiple places you could put him, really. You could put one on that plane, but no, I think with the wrestling moves, the guns, the knife, like, I know we're talking about rankings. That's what I loved in this game. I'm a big knife guy in Resident Evil. I'm always collecting knives. So the fact that I have a hunter's knife that does not break.
A ton in this game.
Yeah. I love just Helena emptying a clip, wasting all ammo while I'm just there like, yeah. Like, and I love that it didn't break. Like, I hate in the games where I go, I got to go find another one.
Yeah.
Sometimes love that.
I won't even do the stomp thing. I'll just take out the knife and just stab the ground.
I love the knife. So is the knife right there and the costume. So Smash would be, I don't think he'd ever make it in, but, because I feel like
I feel like we could see it. I think they had Resident Evil like spirits and stuff in Ultimate, so they were
really
we're circling it. I think.
I guess it's still you still got a date when we talk about this next Smash thing because I'm still in the opinion that
he has enough unique animations now.
Absolutely.
These games. I mean, I think Ada makes the most. She seems the most like agile of the. She's always ziplining around and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you do a one Resident Evil rep like. Ada, unfortunately, is not number 1. You got to go
Leon S. Kennedy.
You have to do Leon or Jill, I think.
I agree, and I think to me Leon's kind of surpassed Jill now.
Especially with him being Requiem as well. I feel like he's the one.
And because I feel like that did push me, like seeing some of his gameplay. But even before, when just the idea of Leon being in the game, I saw a lot of people like, okay, I'm officially locked in now because that's just a lot of stuff like hybrid nostalgia. But I'm still a person that thinks the next Smash should go back to super small roster bare bones. So that's where I would say no, and that's where I'll say it for one day when we ever talk about it because I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, we got multiple Smash Bros episodes coming out at some point here. There's so many angles to take on this.
Yeah, I'm excited for that era of Geekverse because we only got to do like a little bit of Ultimate. It was like on the way already. So I did want to break because you brought up when you're talking about like 5 being the best selling at the time. It was because all the
8 surpassed it, right?
Well, yeah, I just meant at that time, like when the games were coming out, because all the games after 5 are the remakes or the new one, like 7 and 8. But at the time, it was 5, 6 to the 2014 Resident Evil, and then Resident Evil 0 HD remaster. But then it's like Resident Evil 4 remake, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 2 is the top selling one, I guess. This was from June of last year. So I think you're right, 8 has surpassed it now. But still, you were right where it was 5 in that era before all the new games. 5 was the top dog. And even like 6 is not that far behind it. Like it's like a couple, like 100,000 units or something like that behind.
Yeah,
so
nice. That's really impressive.
They both were successful.
over 10 million, I think, for 5, something like that.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like, it, like, I wonder what I have to look because like 2012 is when that game comes out, and then 7 doesn't come out till 2017. I just in my mind, maybe it was just me, but I feel like fans are with me. I feel like there's a much bigger backlash to those games, but it wasn't that long of a layoff, you know?
No, really not. And I think in that time they had some other spin-off things.
I think
like
so.
There's a couple of games on like the 3DS. There's like random shit, there's other things that came out in that era still.
Yeah.
I really want to play those 3DS games, by the way. I've been on the lookout of I don't know what these are, but I desperately want to see what's up with these 3DS games.
What do they even
that
go
inventory
for?
system on one screen and the actual game on the other screen? That would be peak Resident Evil right there.
Resident Evil Revelations. I was trying to see just what even they go
Which
for
I think is on
nowadays.
other platforms too, but I specifically want to play like the 3DS versions.
Seems like they're going for about $30 to $40.
Yeah, I've seen them at the used game stores. I'm like, I don't know. For a game I'm probably going to just play for 1 hour and then dip. Like, I don't know if I want to spend that much money.
It's like when we bought the Wii Call
I'm
of
being
Duty.
realistic with myself. I know how
Yes.
much I actually want to play it versus the novelty of playing it.
Yeah, maybe it's just worth a YouTube video to see like, oh, what's it look like? And you're like, okay, I know what that's like.
Yeah.
But
3D as well. Can't believe it.
yeah,
be
which is
mind-blowing.
funny. Do you think that's like? I know we're going on a little tangent, but like, do you think we're just at? Maybe that's what it is too. I think you're right because there's other games, and maybe that created like 5 and 6 Rocky, and then other games, and then that one came. I wonder if we're ever gonna get back to that, or do you think we're just sticking mainline Resident Evil now? You know, like for new games, is it just always gonna be
Yeah,
8,
'cause
9, 10?
They've had like even with maybe with Resident Evil 4 or something, they had like that multiplayer like Mercenaries one that like came out that was somewhat attached to it or something. So they're still doing that stuff, but like I don't think anyone pays attention to that stuff.
No.
But yeah, you're right. It has been a while since we've had like one of these other spin-off games, I think, right? I can't think of the last one that actually came out that wasn't like a multiplayer thing.
I'm looking right now to see like an actual dated one because I just feel like it has been. Okay, category. Wikipedia is going to save us here now. Oh, that didn't save me at all. It just listed it in alphabetical order, not like when they came.
Which is not helpful for a series that starts with Resident Evil.
Okay, so what is Resident Evil Survival Unit? That's like a VR game or something, right?
Survival?
Survival Unit. Is it
I have
a,
no fucking
is it
clue
a
what
mobile
Survival
game?
Unit is. I've never heard of that.
Okay,
Let
so
me put that down for the freaking the trivia. That's a good game.
It is an app game. There you go. It's a mobile game. So not counting that. So
like
we
Dead Aim, Outbreak.
So since 7, we've had the 2 remake, 3 remake, Resident Evil Resistance in 2020. Is that the one you're talking about? It's like it looks like it's 2022
that's
survival.
a multiplayer thing.
Okay, and then
I think it's like a Dead by Daylight maybe sort of vibe.
Okay, and then so we've had that where it's the Reavers, but then
Yeah.
before that, it looks like the last
Reavers
game.
even came out like after Village, which is like no one talked about that like that.
No.
Yeah.
And then in between 6 and 7 in 2015, you got Resident Evil Revelations 2, an episodic survival game. And then in 2016, you got Umbrella Corps, a tactical.
I was just looking up that. What the hell is Umbrella? And not even called, to be clear, not called Resident Evil Umbrella Corps. It's just called Umbrella Corps.
And that's great. And that's where I think with 7, I don't think I even jumped on it right away because like Umbrella
This game
Corps.
looks wild. This is what a fascinating thing to exist.
I gotta look at this because I just seen the
It's
cover.
like a military shooter.
But like Umbrella,
it looks like Rainbow Six or something.
really? Well, Umbrella Corps only comes out a year before Village, so that's why I feel like maybe now I'm kind of remembering. It just felt like when Village or not Village, sorry, Biohazard. It just felt like when that game came out, I was like, oh, the Resident Evil brand's kind of like dying out here, and then that to me I thought put like a adrenaline put into it. So that's crazy that they did a tactical like.
Yeah.
I get it. You're a brand. You want to spread out. But like at no point in my life would I ever thought like I want a tactical Resident Evil game.
That's the only game in the series apparently that isn't called Resident Evil something, which is like that's a fun piece of trivia right there. There's just a Resident Evil game called Umbrella Corps.
You should save that. You should do like a multiple choice. But like here's
I'm writing
a
that down because that's coming up somewhere.
yeah, here's a non-Resident Evil game out of these 4. What is it? But that's crazy.
Which
Okay.
series is the game Umbrella Corps from?
Yeah, that's a good
Even
one.
that
Yeah.
would be like, what?
Okay, so technically, it has been 6 years since we've gotten a spin-off game. So not counting mobile. So
Okay, not counting mobile.
yeah, so I'm not.
But you're not
counting
counting the multiplayer stuff either.
No, I did. I did. So that's 6 years. I counted Resident Evil Resistance. That's the last one, 2020.
Wouldn't it be Reverse?
Oh, is that the
I
multiplayer?
think that's also a multiplayer thing.
Oh, is it?
Oh wait, is that the?
No, isn't that just like the DL? Let's see. Isn't that just the DLC with the added like
Was that
third
called
person
Reverse? Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that's just what it is.
Because this doesn't have like the DLC for Resident Evil 4 listed, so I don't know. I didn't think that. I don't know what the heck's going on.
I will also say because I've seen it on the shop so many times before I buy it, I get why they did it, but I absolutely hate the cover of Village. It is one of my least favorite Resident Evil covers of all time. It's
I
like
agree
Chris
with
with
you.
especially with like Chris isn't even the main character of this game. Like to me, this looks like a Chris Redfield game. It's not. He has a great mission, but it's like and the lichen face, like it just does not invoke like what
Especially
the
'cause, like,
seven was happening.
Them sticking the Roman numeral 8 in Village is like one of the most genius title
Yes.
things I've seen in a game, and it looks great and it looks cool, and the way they mesh those letters, like the name with the numbers, is like really cool. So yeah, the fact that it's paired with like just a snoozer of a box art
Yeah.
is disappointing.
Like this isn't anything amazing, but like this has a vibe to me. Resident Evil Biohazard, you got the number thing again, and it tells you
More
everything.
memorable. Yeah.
And literally that person on the cover, massive plot point to once you play the actual game, you know? And it's like it's hiding in plain
scrolling
sight.
back through like all the covers, I feel like kind of weak box art.
It's
for
usually
Resident Evil.
like guy, girl, gun, and then like something
Revelations
over
is
them,
good
right?
because it's like the big creepy eye, but a lot of these are really quite lame.
We should rate this.
That's a good ranking.
I was gonna say,
best series, series box.
We should make
series with
that
the best box art.
yeah, we should do it one time when we have no news and all four of us or whatever. We should do evergreen best like or best
Yeah.
video game covers because. But yeah, you're right. The rest ones aren't that special, but it's just something with the Village one. I think it's just odd with Chris there. I guess because he's a big factor, but I just have never liked it because and also it got ruined by the Sonic memes for me too, like the Dark Sonic or the Dark Wing. Like those are always those edits. Have you ever seen that?
I don't even think I know what that is.
I'll try and find it quickly, but it's always like when the game's on sale. I've just been destroyed by it, but yeah, this pops up all the time. Here we go. Because I think a Sonic cover had a very similar cover, so I see this all the time. Wario 64, whenever this game was on sale, when he promoted it, he would use this or a variation of this cover.
That's like whenever it's like a near sale, he always posts that picture of like 2B with that girl from that fucking fighting game that I can't remember the name of. So
Yeah.
it's like an extremely like sexy like art
I
that
know
they
what you're
did
talking
for, like,
about.
some DLC.
Yeah. So, but yeah, why is this?
Wario 64.
Let's see. Apologize. It sounds like a stupid question. Why is this Sonic cover frequently next to the RE cover? Hang on. Let me see if I get the. It's just a meme. Both covers use a similar aesthetic. Okay, so there you go. It just literally was that. I guess that Sonic game probably had Sonic and then Dark Sonic. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, this was awesome. Resident Evil, what a series! It's so fun. It's a
Yeah.
very fun series to think about, talk about, and play.
Yeah.
That's why we played all these games. And yeah, like we've hinted at here, the week before Requiem, we're gonna do a big juicy episode, which is gonna have our rankings. We're gonna rank the games. We're gonna rank characters. We're gonna rank maybe other things as well we've hinted at, but at least those two things. And then we're going to do some predictions for Requiem as well. And then, of course, we're both picking up that game day one. And then we'll do, I don't know, I guess maybe one impressions and one like spoiler episode on it. We'll see kind of where we're at with it, how long the game ends up being. That's already been... That was rumored, and then it was counter-rumored, so we'll see how long this game is. Who knows?
What was the counter rumor? I didn't see the counter rumor. I saw
just
the
that
19
there was
hours.
like that rumor that it was like 15 hours, and then someone's like, "Oh, that's actually not true." So I was like,
Okay.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
I think I've been seeing 19 hours is the one that's
Okay,
been.
yeah.
I think it's been
Yeah.
going.
That would be
there,
crazy.
yeah.
That would be like kind of almost the long. I mean, this game is probably the longest, Resident Evil 6, but when you split it up with 4 different campaigns, it's like cheating a little bit. But if that game was like more linear and 19 hours, that'd be a hefty Resident Evil game.
Yeah, but then at the same time, I swear I thought the creator said it was close to like Resident Evil 4 runtime, which is still like a longer
Which is like
one.
that's like 12-ish.
Yeah,
I think,
so
right?
maybe
longer than 2 and 3.
maybe it's one of those situations where it's really like a 12 to 14 game, but maybe it's 19 when it's like if you want to do everything. I bet that's what it probably is. So, but yeah, I cannot wait.
That
Pitch
makes sense.
Fever.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. And of course, as I hinted at, we're also doing that with the movies. We're going through a bunch of the movies, doing
Yeah.
retrospects of that as well. And I've never seen a single one of those. So that's going to be a whole new experience for me. The amount of Resident Evil I've ingested in the last, well, with this year combined, projecting forward, will be a lot of Resident Evil, but it's becoming a favorite of mine, a kind of low-key favorite.
And I was gonna say, because I know it takes a lot for you to get in theaters, but you're gonna have to see the Resident Evil movie in September now, right? When that comes
Sure.
out, like the Zach
It's like-
Krager one,
yeah,
to
it's like
boost it
fall,
off. Yeah.
let's do it.
And now I'm even more invested because just getting reinvested with these characters, with the animated ones having like Leon and Claire and Ada, like I'm really excited to see, because people say these are canon to the games apparently. So
I mean, this
I can't
stories in this
wait.
game make no sense to me anyway. So like anything could be canon. I've played all these games and I don't know what the F's going on. half
I
the
think what
time,
I'll
so-
do, because I think the first Resident Evil animated movie picks up after 4. I think also for the other guys, I'll find like a quick timeline like that I can say like what has happened to some of these people, and we can refer back to it a couple times. So I feel like it's gonna get a little like X-Men timeline messy, but
Oh,
I'm
big
ready
time
for the
I'll
ride.
be watching the YouTube like recaps of like what's going on and all these things. 'Cause,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't wait.
Shout out to all the people who make those YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to everyone who listened to this episode. Shout out to you, Travis, for joining me on this juicy episode of Sidequest. Yeah, we'll be back next week covering the Sony State of Play. Hopefully there's some sauce to be found in there. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.